Boom. There it is. Good evening, everybody. Mind blown. Such celebrity turnout. we got the coach in the house already.
Whew, my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
What's up, sports fans?
Dad Hammer. I'm actually wearing my my Milwaukee Bucks cap in honor of you, Tristan.
My heart.
The B-ball bond.
Flutter.
I know you're a Chicago guy,
That's
but I
your
forgive you. Or no, right now it's a Portland guy. Or no, New Orleans guy. Which one is it? I don't know what.
Now.
It's hard to keep track of which bandwagon you're currently on.
Oh, shut your mouth. Listen, just because your shitty team finally got good after years of being incredibly mediocre.
Do you know how agonizing it is to love a shitty team? Like, it's so miserable.
Yeah. Yes, I do.
You do. No. See, this actually kind of parlays into what I wanted to talk about a little bit, which is like loving something when the love maybe isn't there from other aspects, right? So you're the TK fan. OMG, it's Tristan. Feel free to address chat. If you don't want to address him directly through microphone, you can always just type at him.
I guess I should probably, figure out how to actually see the chat. That'd be a good idea.
Yeah.
That'd be sneaky, wouldn't it? Hi, gang.
Right.
This is great.
Yeah, so I lied. I didn't actually take notes for tonight's stream. I just had an idea.
So I would have done it.
No, I was just excited. I think just having a conversation with a friend is a decent way to have a RantCast. But then we always have to have our centering thought, which is, I think, a little bit about, last week it was OCR Bone Reapers, obviously, so every time I'd flip out, I'd come back and just start talking about how much I liked them. And that actually kind of led me to what I've been thinking about for a while. I was actually going to go live for my work truck and do just a 5-minute, I know, and my Hive-Is and everything, and then just do just like a 5-minute thing. But then I started thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? I actually kind of want to talk to Tristan about this, because when I first got into Age of Sigmar, we'll give a quick history lesson, and then I'm actually going to ask yours, because I know that you've always been a TK fan, but I don't really know where you jumped in, and so I'm curious to know where that is. So remind me to ask you that question in a couple seconds.
I will remind you.
All right.
My Christ-like, yes, hi.
Right. So, I got in Warhammer Fantasy Battle, Army Book Undead. It was, everything was condensed. There wasn't a Tomb Kings yet. There wasn't Vampire Counts even. And then when the split happened, Vampire Counts came out first, and Tomb Kings got delayed. I remember they were going to do like a big back-to-back type release, and this is the 90s. Internet's not really like huge. There, forums, you really are at the whim of your comic book store guy. So you go to your, in my case, it was the comic book store guy, because he was the gaming store as well. So I walked in, when's Tomb Kings coming out? When's Tomb Kings coming out? Because the first thing I noticed about the Vampire Counts book is they didn't have my beloved, Archer Chariot. If you remember that old school model, it was, it's
Oh, man, it was good.
It's just two archers, on the back of, and it's a flat plane, like a rib cage. And as I recall, the horses were on a base, but the chariot wheels were not. This is how. Yeah. So this was
chucked out.
It was great, and you had to pay 15 points for the bones, or for the wheel sides, and attach them. And so that was the first thing I noticed. I'm like, well, oh man, maybe Tomb Kings is getting the chariots and stuff. And so I had a decision to make. I went Vampire Counts, and then I played Vampire Counts until I went off to college. And then the college town was 40K. So you kind of play what's around you. And my hometown had already kind of been getting into, had already kind of been getting into 40K. So I had a codex at the time, my second edition 40K codex. And so I just started actually playing that. And then I just took a hobby hiatus, or a game hiatus, a wargaming hiatus for 10 years. So we're talking, I'm 34, a magnificent 34. I stopped playing about my mid-20s. And I came back to AOS just before the Legion of Nagash tome. And for me, it was like Games Workshop picked up where they left off. In fact, I was doing that thing where I'm like, oh, what army do I play? Right? And so I'm practicing with Joe, Heywo Twitches, Stormcast Eternals. I'm, getting in reps, playing against his Beast Claw Raiders, playing against his, then he had a mixed order army, like, back in the day. Playing against his mixed order army, and just getting in reps and making the decision what army to finally pull the trigger on. So at the back of my mind, I'm like, I'll just play Death again. But then there's that small part of me that's like, well, maybe I play Skaven because I always kind of wanted to play Skaven, or maybe I'll just stick with Stormcast because Joe's willing to just like be like, here's a whole army, just fucking have fun, right? I was playing Skyborn Slayers at the time, by the way, the fun one, yeah, the pre Gav Bomb with old Star Soul maces, so much fun.
Yeah, I were here. There goes your head.
Yeah, they were great. So that's for me. Getting into Death was like picking up where I'd left off. Nagash was fieldable. He wasn't great. He was 900 points at the time. And then I made the decision. Somebody on Facebook was selling a box of it's called the Box of Death. It's off here in my hobby corner. I keep the box for sentimental reasons, even though it's a cardboard box from Amazon. It's got black primer all over it in every which direction. It's fantastic. And, I mean, there's still, like, if I dig through it, there's, like, Manfred sitting at the bottom of there somewhere. Like, it's a nightmare.
Him and his moldy horse, yeah.
Oh, the poor guy. So I bought the Box of Death, and, like, I started assembling the models, start getting in my first, like, early games, and Legion of Nagash is announced. Legion of Nagash comes out, and it was like Games Workshop had personally said to me, Mephisto, welcome back, right? And then I play a long time, and now I'm back. And now, here we are. That was my experience.
Yeah, fast forward.
You fast forward to now.
Okay.
That was my experience. So, where did you, I guess, get into TK, and what's been your experience up through Age of Sigmar until, we'll bring us up to like Age of Sigmar through 1.0 and then now 2.0. Yeah.
Okay. So I was a 40K guy growing up. Like, my local game store had Warhammer, thought it was super cool. Basically, like, followed my brother, who's a huge comic book guy, into the store and saw, cool spacemen beating up like stupid looking spacemen. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna play the cool spacemen.
Real quick, which were the cool spacemen?
Cool spacemen were Dark Angels because they were green.
And they
very important part.
And they rode Harleys into space.
Yeah.
Pre-White Scars, they were the bike one because the Angels of Death combined codex. It was like Harley riding cool spacemen and Blood Angel.
But, like the thing is, I'm not a Harley guy. I'm more of an Indian guy. Like, I don't want to think.
Oh.
Like, to me, that's stupid, and I hate them.
See, I'm getting so Milwaukee.
I like the soft fur.
See,
well, yeah, your stupid basketball team has like the logo on their chest. I get it. You like large parts.
Hang on. No, they're gonna kick me out of the state if I say this live on chat right now, and I can't edit it out. But not a big Harley guy either. I actually, I realized I was getting old when one drove past me, and I was just like, "Motherfucker, keep it down." But like, just, I get it. You love your
segue. I used to live right around the corner from like the biker bar whenever I was in my 20s, and I ran a venue out of my apartment. So like, I had all ages shows going, and we'd have like the soft acoustic band in, like Julie Duran or some other like absolutely jaw-droppingly good person, and then all of a sudden these douchers would just cruise through going, and I've hated them ever since.
That was the moment. Yeah. So cool spacemen versus lame spacemen, starting out 40K.
So got obsessed, got super into painting, like really enjoyed gaming, loved the tactical element, all that, whole 9 yards. And that was whenever I was around like 14 or so. So I played for a few years, figured out that punk rock is cool, started being a drummer, started playing in punk rock bands, kind of like chucked my Dark Angels to the side. And in the meantime, the local store basically got rid of GW stuff and made them like persona non grata. Like they had a really bad split with them.
That was
Um,
the old days of chapter approved too, and so it was like really annoying for stores back in the like 90s and up into the 2000s to get chapter approved.
yeah,
And so there was some stuff there, right? But
yeah, I guess like it just my local store is run by a couple of hippies and they're kind of sucks. But that's neither here nor there. They had a bad experience with the store, and
right.
that's all that matters. Um,
Is this store still in business? Is this still the
yeah,
store?
it's still the store. It's the like it's now one of three game stores where growing up it was the only place to get anything,
That's
and
really
they still
awesome.
act like they're the only place to get anything in a lot of ways.
Okay.
But so like growing up, got out of it. They decided that they weren't into it, and like I would go in probably every like 2 or 3 years, being like, "Hey, you guys have any like Warhammer stuff?" Because they would always have something tucked out back. Like I remember I picked up like an old metal chaplain blister, like a couple other things like that every once in a while because they'd be like, "Sure, just $5, whatever." Um, but every time I would go in, they'd be like, "Yeah, we're never getting that back in. When hell freezes over, that's when we'll have Warhammer stuff."
Right. Okay.
I'm like, "Cool, great, thanks. I want to give you money for stuff. Why are you telling me that I am a terrible person with bad taste?" Okay, whatever. But then like a couple years down the road, like my friends and I got kind of back into it a little, but then we would have to go to Halifax, which is like a 4-hour drive away from where I am, just to
Wow.
get stuff ordered online. But we would have like a little. One of my buddies is in the army. He's a captain there, so he was able to have the keys to the local armory, and they had the sand table. So we played a bunch of games on their sand table. That's like almost a 6x4 board,
This is
but it's
all
like filled with sand.
this is all coming together on account like Tomb Kings, and you're playing in like your home games on the sand
Yeah,
table.
yeah.
Like this makes
All
sense.
making sense.
Yeah, this is all
But
making
like
sense.
in the meantime, like I always keep sort of like a loose eye out on Games Workshop stuff, and like I've always thought that, you know, like the fancy stuff looked cool other than the stupid square bases. Like I thought that was dumb. I've always hated rank and flank. I'm not one of the square base guys. I
I'm
always
with
thought this would be a cool game if they would put it on circles, because having just colored rectangles moving around the board was not anything that I
see.
was like interested in at all.
Yeah, so you came at it from a 40K into the square base realm, and so like people might expect that take for you from you, but I came at it fantasy first, and I always hated the rank and file. Like people are like, oh, it's so realistic, and I'm like, tell me more about your realism in the world where fucking dragons and spell magic is happening. But yeah,
Yeah.
you got a thought there.
Well, like the funny thing is that the game that I fell in love with the most was actually Mordheim. Like whenever that game kicked off, that was like my absolute jam. Like had played in so many campaigns, absolutely love the system. Like that's how I first started getting conversions, which I'm still obsessed with. But speed up to a couple years back, my local store, I went in one day just out of the blue because I thought I saw like Games Workshop sign in there, which I'm like, this is weird. Did they find that in the basement? Um, and I go in, and there's a dude sitting there with like an actual box of models, and I was like, what is happening? I look at the woman who owns the store. I'm like, Sue, did hell actually freeze like the fuck over? And like actually swore at this 50-year-old woman. And she was like, you know what, Tristan? Hell froze the fuck open. It was perfect. It's one of the best things.
Yeah.
So like I guess a bunch of the Magic guys there, like one or two of them got really into reading, like got into the end time stuff, and then started badgering the store, being like, hey, do you want to get the stuff in? Hey, do you want to get the stuff in? And then they finally acquiesced, and all of a sudden they were just like, yeah, let's check it out. But by that time, end times had happened, and we had, like Sigmar had kicked off a while back, and I was like, oh, cool. Like started getting interested, started checking it out. I was like, oh, there was just this book that came out that has points for everything, and I'm like, that's cool. What's that called?
Was this
that's the General's Handbook?
Oh, okay,
That's
okay.
the original General's Handbook that came out. So like I came in just a little bit after that.
So
like,
you
okay.
just kind of skipped the Dark Ages with no points, where it was just like Vietnam.
Yeah, and I never got into it before. Like, I never got a chance to be really sad that they killed my thing because it was never my thing.
Got it.
With with the end times.
See, I missed.
I'm coming to this game. You missed all that too, right?
I missed the end times completely. I was in my hiatus for the end times. I was 40K and then hiatus, so I missed the end times, and I missed the Dark Ages and GHB 1. I came in on GHB 2017, I believe it was, is where I came in.
Yeah. The one that made me sad. Yeah.
The one that made you. All right, that's the one that crushed your dreams, wasn't it?
So many dreams.
So many dreams. Oh man, the Hand of Dust came early.
Yeah. So, like, whenever the end time stuff was happening, I was obsessed with basketball, much like I still am now, but, like, I was a provincial basketball coach. I was assistant for the under-15, like state team, if they had that.
Yeah, I mean, I think college ball kind of replaces state stuff. The problem with the NBA in like America is there's not really like a quote-unquote farm system. They just use college like a farm system. So
this isn't so much a farm system like that. Like, we have something that's called the Canada Games. It's all the provinces get together and have like a mini Olympics every
like a mini World Cup, kind of like what's going on right now. Okay, cool.
But for like all, like it's like legitimate mini Olympics or like a mini, I don't know, whatever the other things that are like Olympics that I can't think of right now. So I was into that. They started getting in this game, and I looked around to see, like, saw what other people had. It's like, some people had orcs, some people had weird-ass tree men, some people had, which, to be fair, really cool. Like, some people had some corn stuff, and, like, I was looking around, and, like, one dude already had, like, Zinch, and I was like, okay, like, checking it out, being like, wait, what was that thing I thought was really cool back in the day? And that was Tomb King. I always thought they were the coolest-looking army, because they had these big, stupid, like, constructs walking around. They had skeletons, and I've always been, like, I was really lucky as a kid, and we went to a trip to Ottawa, the capital of Canada, and went to our national museum, and they have this huge Egyptology exhibit, and so since about, like, 7, I always thought that stuff was cool, and then there was these dope-ass mummies that were around, like, dry bone skeletons were always kind of my favorite. Like, I don't like vampire stuff. I think it's lame. I think it's just like, it just doesn't hit with me at all.
Okay.
But for some reason, mummies and like that kind of like erupting from the crypts and like great civilizations that once were that are trying to rebuild themselves. To me, that's like catnip.
It's great. It's great.
Like, my brain just pops.
If I can defend the vampire thing real quick, not that I'm trying to convert you. No, okay. It was the Castlevania thing for me. It was Castlevania for me, not like a big exhibit. But go on.
Metroid is better.
Ooh. Ooh. All right. Oh man, we're gonna have live fight. No. Anyway, yeah. So the exhibit, yeah.
So the exhibit, like, I've always kind of loved that type of stuff. But I was just checking it out, being like, oh, I want to play Tomb King, and then I look, and they're like, oh, that got discontinued recently. I was like, oh shit, really? And I was like, I didn't realize like what that kind of meant for the game, because I looked, there's rules. I started researching them. Like, I started researching them a little bit more, and I'm just like, oh, these guys are super cool. And oh, what's this? Some guy made a battle tome. Clicked on it. My brain just like went complete galaxy mode. Like, I know it's like I got into like a really good trip. And the Mengele Miniatures Endless Desert project had just finished like however many months before that, and I just became obsessed. Like, I was like, I'm in. Cool skeletons doing cool stuff. This is a cool battle tome. I'm totally ready to go. Like, let's do this. So I figure out where, like, I start trying to find models. I get a couple lots. I get lucky, get one over in Halifax. And that guy had a ton of stuff. And then I had another one that was in, like, Winnipeg, in the middle of Canada. Close to you.
Right. I live in South Canada.
Yeah, which, great part of Canada, that's South Canada.
Yeah.
So, I got lots, so I collected a whole bunch of stuff, and I started building it, started playing it, and then I realized, oh, this is actually my type of game style too, because I've always liked having lots of different options, and I loved having kind of like a little bit of a grind aspect to it.
And
So
the
for me,
skirmish style,
like,
the rounds and stuff.
yeah, yeah, and like having the rounds, like I was just like, oh, these models actually look cool now, and I like how they play, and the lore that like Tyler and those guys built up really, really stuck with me. Like I was just like, this is awesome.
Well, you in our just ambient conversations, you mentioned something that I think really resonated is like TK are very punk rock.
Oh yeah,
Like they're super punk rock. Like the like. Oh, I'll let you expand on that. But it's your take. But
they're just sticking their. Yeah. Well, my take on it is that they are some of the most obnoxious, like like they're the most obnoxious army you can choose. It's not that they're trying to fight you. It's not that they're trying to do anything. They're just trying to let you know that they're better than you and that they think that you're an idiot.
And they don't give a
like,
fuck.
They don't give one single rat's ass care about what you think or what you want, because to them it's like, cool, I'm getting mine.
Right.
Like, you want what from me? No, get bent. Like, just absolutely like sticking their thumb in people's eyes and just like face pushing and just being like, no, I'm making space for myself. This is where I'm at. Like, oh, you think that you can do that? No. Like, I am the most important. I am the biggest ruler. I am the one who's going to flex on you so hard. And if you try to come at me, I'm just going to drown you in skeletons.
Well, drowning people in skeletons is a theme we both share. So,
but my skeleton's good at fighting, and your skeletons suck.
That's not even close to true.
I know.
Like first off, we're kind of using the same skeletons, but thank you so much for that follow there.
Yeah. Whatever.
No.
But yeah, so I got it there. I wasn't able to find like all the kits that I really like had dreamed of having, but I was able to grab start collecting bone rattle. So I had a bunch of the new kits, had a bunch of the old kits that I was able to pick up secondhand. So I just started slamming them together to make something cool.
Yeah.
Because for me, the point of building models is to make something that is interesting and has like a flow. Like you feel like you can feel the momentum coming from your miniature. Like they're all like to me just a little diorama or like just a way for you to convey an idea. Just about every skeleton I put together, I've got like a little it's not much of a story, but it's like a little like, oh, this guy's swinging his like spear at somebody, so he has to be lurched forward a little bit. So I'll put him on a little rock and have him be like a little bit coming off the base, and then he'll be the one that's annoying and tips over a lot. Or like it's like readying a big slam. Like to me, it's really important to have kind of like a little momentum in your miniatures.
Oh yeah.
And the older skeletons and their cartoonishly large skulls and hands were great to add to the older ones because they were so pitch forward. I was able to just like do a lot with them.
Oh, that's what I like.
Actually, yeah.
Oh, finish your point. I kind of talked over you there, but the old skulls.
My point is like, yeah. Well, my point is that like I was able to take some of my old wartime sensibilities and sort of throw it into this army and ease into it just by doing a metric ton of skeletons.
Well, it's like it's a horde army, but you've given care to each skeleton having like personality and stuff.
Yeah, because if you're gonna do something, why do it for them?
Right.
That's kind of like my ethos whenever it comes to this, or like a lot of things in life lately.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's actually where I think OCR Bone Reapers have kind of succeeded. And I know some people don't dig the grinning skull faces, but I do think GW. Yeah, hang on. I think GW sat down and went, "Let's give skeletons personality." And the skulls on them seem a throwback to the big-headed, kind of exaggerated skeletons. Also, if you think of it like a Mengu, like the faces aren't like a skull; it's a war mask, and so they have this like the Mengu or the samurai like war mask, and I think that's a really cool take. Again, the aesthetic's not there for you because you really really want Egypt or whatever, but to me, I think that
I don't even push it that far. It's that I find that what they chose to do with their line troops for the Bone Reapers, that grinning Cheshire Cat face that they have, it doesn't hit. Like for me, it's a huge swing and a miss, and I just think they look like they got hit by Joker's laughing gas, or like they're members of ICP, like Insane Clown Posse.
Well, no, hang on, that's a low blow.
That are like bone people that are combined with Sylvaneth that are combined with Juggalos.
No, I see. I'm just pulling up just a real quick Google search here for the Mengu so people can see in the chat.
Oh, I thought you were gonna pull up Juggalo.
No,
You pull up them.
no, absolutely not. No, so like I to me they're very. If you've seen my skeletons, I don't know if I've shared them with you or my Black Knights. Actually,
You don't share them. No.
No, I don't really share my stuff on the internets.
I always think that's stupid because your Nagash has like a big trash can hat, and I think that's cool.
He's rocking a fucking rice hat, yo. Except
Okay.
Yeah, so like my skeletons have the like they're rocking like the rice hats and stuff. Which I had to painstakingly have their heads sawed off. Like the tops sawed off and the stuff. And then my Black Knights are actually literal fucking samurai. So
Okay. This like that. So specific parts of the Bone Reapers was perfect for you.
Yeah. I mean, they have a. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like someone once said to me, kind of getting into the hobby, is like pick an army that you like the aesthetic of to begin with, because like it's the aesthetic you're going to be dealing with a lot of. And I took my skeletons, I went, nah, fuck that. I'm making them samurais and shit, you know, and so like when the Bone Reapers came out, like yeah, it's a very Pan-Asian, like sort of like pseudo-Asian amalgam. Like there's no one you can look at it and be like, this looks very Tibetan to me, this looks very Mongol to me, this looks very samurai to me. But they're not any distinct one.
No, and I find like there's Persian elements, there's a bunch of stuff. Like it's definitely that food that's called like Asia Republic or something like that.
Yeah. Or like
300 things on the menu, and it's from every
some fusion restaurant. Yeah, some fusion restaurant.
Weinstein.
Yeah, this is the Asian fusion restaurant. Like, no, I get it. I understand some of the criticisms against it, but I just like I've got these Mengu pulled up here. Like their faces to me scream like Japanese samurai Mengu, like war masks and stuff. So I'm for that. And I think if you paint their faces more like a mask, use gold, like what Mike was actually mentioning in one of our chats, where he's like, if you paint the faces more like masks, I'm stealing that. Don't think of their faces like a skull. They are constructs. They're made to have that face. And so I really like that take.
Yeah,
and I'll be. But yeah, getting back.
Let's just loop around and finish that like little introduction part for me. So I got up there, I built up my force, and I was having a great old time in GHB1.
Right on. Well, yeah, I mean, people were screaming that TK were OP initially.
Yeah, and it's really frustrating because it's like we were the first army that people figured out there was a unit that was undercosted, and there's been tons of stuff since.
There's always something undercosted.
Yeah, and it's just like how many times do they have to nerf the Frostheart Phoenix? Like that's an example. Like people didn't catch on to that one quick enough. Heck, the White Lines are like another great option that people just didn't really think to use that much. And like it's just really frustrating that Tomb Kings became the poster child for OP broken unit. And it's also really frustrating that people decided to make like a point out of it that were playtesters. Like I know the Masters for I think it was 2017. I think what was it? I forget who, but somebody brought them and like scratched out the name of somebody else and said this is their list. It's going to win the Masters, and then did. And then there was a big kerfuffle about how Tomb Kings were overpowered and were underpointed, and how it wasn't fair for new players that this was such a good army.
There's always like a litmus test for noobs. You know, like Snowballs, for instance, in Beast Claw Raiders at the heyday of like mixed destruction was that where like it's just a pub stomper in the LGS, which is, face it, that's where the majority of players get their experience. They get they get the LGS experience, which is not a robust enough meta to gauge your response on. And then they go and they find the articles on the internet that support their what they already think is true. And so, like,
Yeah.
TK1, and, like, there's this TK player at my LGS who just, like, whoops my ass, and then TK1, so, like, obviously they're a problem. The same thing with snowballs. And it's like, or you could learn to deploy better so that 6 mortal wounds doesn't, like, wipe you out. Like,
Yeah, and like the thing is, at the time, Anthony just made a great point. The snakes were really powerful for what they were, and they were very low pointed. And I'm not trying to make an excuse for that.
no.
The thing that I found really funny about those people making like a point to be like, look how stupid this is, wasn't that it was a in the local gaming store problem. It was just with the high end competitive meta.
Oh, I see. Okay.
That, like, because people didn't have TK. Like, there's always, every time I talk to people, it's always like, oh yeah, there's that one guy in our store who was obsessed with Tomb Kings, and he was the only one that ever had them for years. That's always a story I get. Because people are always like, wow, that's cool. I haven't seen those in ages. There's that one guy. And so I found, like, I was really frustrated that then they got absolutely, like, dunked on in GHB 2018 or 2017, whatever the second GHB was, because they basically had all the units that people complained about doubled in points cost, like just straight up times 2.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, around the time I came in, Tomb Kings was a total meme. So, like, I don't even remember them being a real thing about the time I showed up, because it was just GA death. Mm-hmm. It was just GA death, and then, like, a couple Flesh Eater Quartz players. There wasn't and that's like a completely different take. But, like, for a long time, there was no death battle tomes. I mean, we got Flesh Eater Quartz, and just the majority percentage, we're in, 4 years of Age of Sigmar now? 5 years of Age of Sigmar? Going on our 5th year? Something like that, right? 5? Yeah, I'll just round off to 5. And for the majority percentage of that, there has been one death battle tome, which was Flesh Eater Quartz. And so, like, most of it was just mixed death, or, yeah. So, like, death has been in, like, a weird place for a little while. But you actually kind of mentioned something while you were talking here, like, in your origin story, and this is getting ahead of myself, but I want to ask the question while it's fresh here. As you're committed to, like, playing TK now, and I think going forward you're going to find a way to bring them into the game. Like, I'm just skipping ahead a few chapters. How do you continue to find stuff to bash up and make your models? Because I've got your picture of your bone giant up here right now, and this is freaking awesome. Like, how do you continue to find kits at this point? Because if they're not going to support you anymore, you're going to start having to green stuff some shit and actually have to start to organically build a lot of your visual, you know?
I got really lucky. I got a couple of lots on super great deals early, and I've only, like, I paint pretty slow. I take my time with my stuff, and I just had so many bits. I was able to kind of, like, cobble together things using the newer kits and with the older ones. Like, with the one that you have up there, that's half a kit. That's half a Necrosphinx, right?
Yeah, this is the Necrosphinx.
I was able to order some third-party legs from a place called Rockland Studios, and that's, like, it was made to do that. And actually, Total War, they took those legs and made those the legs for the Hero Titan in Total War. Like, it's pretty funny. I know if I'm gonna continue to do this, I'm gonna have to take some matters into my own hands and become a gigantic nerd and start casting my own stuff.
There you go. That's the next step.
Yeah, and that's, like, I got lucky. Like, it's basically about, like, trying to find stuff for not the insane eBay prices that you can pay for TK.
Right.
Like, right now, you can pay, like, if you want to go out and spend $100 and something, you can go get 3 Ushopti, but you're paying like $120 probably for 3 models that used to cost $45. Or if you want a Necrosphinx, like maybe around $200.
Oh,
like,
they're outrageous. It's a great model, and it's becoming a freaking collector's item, because it's such a sweet.
Yeah,
And if anything
it's so
deserved a
nice.
reprint coming into the new death that we were expecting to get and stuff,
Yeah.
like that's one of those ones that you just want to see a reprint of that in whatever, with the new technology, a slightly different pose, some more dynamicism added to it. Like,
Yeah, like it's such a nice kit. It's way better than half the things that are still in the game, and I'm pretty confident saying that because it's every time I would put that model down, people would stop and be like, "That's a good thing. What's that? I like that."
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I mean,
yeah. So I just got lucky. Facebook groups, if you set up little alerts for yourself, you're able to figure out a couple of like AOS groups specifically to buy stuff. I know there's a Tomb King's Facebook group for Tomb King's AOS, and people there will actually sell stuff. Like people will search out and find us, and then be like, "Hey, I'm selling this. Does anybody want it?" Which is nice. There's actually a guy right now who has this amazing collection of almost fully built stuff that's got like 20 something chariots, a whole bunch of the really nice plastic tomb guard, and just a bunch of stuff that he's just trying to sell just today.
wow.
So it's just kind of not just taking the first thing you find, but it's getting tougher.
It's they're a finite resource at this point. Like the old sculpts they're not reprinting them. They're out of print. They're like, this is a finite resource, and so, I mean, I guess where are, because I know I talked to you, and you feel like a little defeated right now, for the OCR Bone Reapers. It's not your fault, I think the community really did. The community really did kind of build an expectation. An expectation is the mother of all letdown, right? Like, it's just the reason I'm excited about Bone Reapers is because I didn't expect it at all. If I had an expectation, I'd be nitpicking the models to shit. I didn't think they were going to do this. I thought TK as well, so I was a little disarmed when I see this decidedly not TK faction released. From my non-TK player perspective, I'm like, these aren't Tomb Kings. So
no, and like from my perspective, I was told like probably about sometime last year. If you go back, you could probably figure out when I was told that they were doing a rematch of Tomb Kings, and I was like, wait, what? Because I never had any hope they would bring them back.
Yeah,
they would like they're out of the game, and I was like, okay, well, whatever.
Well, they nearly got compendiumed completely, right? Like,
well, they are in compendium.
They are in compendium, yeah.
But the thing is, compendium's completely match play legal.
Yeah.
It's just they don't have a battle tone.
Right.
So like they have points and the new GHB and everything. But what was my point?
Expectation and beer. Almost got legended. That's the one. Anyway.
That's it. Hey Simba, what's up? My guy. Love that guy. He's incredibly good at painting gray.
Hey Symbol. What's the Twitter handle?
What do you mean?
Oh, Symbol.
I don't know. I think it might be Symbol.
No, it might be Symbol. All right, right on. I'll have to check out the models.
Yeah, it's in the Honest Wargamer chat. Sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, what I was trying to say, what was it? Oh yeah, expectations. So I had these expectations because I was told prior too long ago that they're coming, that they're going through playtesting, that they're going to be like this, they're going to be like that. And in my mind, a rematch of Tomb Kings meant that they would keep the visual language of them, but shift them slightly, similar to how they did Night Haunt, where they took like one model and expanded it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, okay, so maybe they'll take like Tomb Guard, or maybe they'll take the Sepulchral Stalkers, or maybe they'll take. I was hoping for Ushabti, to be honest. And I was like, okay, I am so excited. Like, whatever they do, I'll be all in. Like, I was beyond excited. Like, I was like, I sold the guitar amps, I sold some stuff just to get like kind of a bankroll going, because I was like, whatever they do, I don't care. I know I'm gonna like it. Like, If they have to be kowtowing to Nagash, I can handle that. Whatever, like it'll be fine. Because I was super excited to have an actual place in Immortal Realms proper.
And I mean,
I know the kind of like the impetus for this discussion is trying to find your own way with, or trying to find your own way in Age of Sigmar whenever you don't have a faction that
yes.
either has a place or like you're kind of floating around trying to figure out what you want to do.
Yeah, I didn't know how to make that into a concise title of like how do you play an Age of Sigmar without a team, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
and I think that's kind of like the general conceit of it, right? It's that you're trying to find space for yourself, your gaming, within the wonderful, massive sandbox that is Age of Sigmar.
mm-hmm.
And you know what? It's not hard, but you sort of have to stick your chin out a lot. Like, you have to take it on the chest quite a bit if you want to play that sort of game. Like, if you want to be so narratively driven that you're pushing your own initiatives, you're, like, shoehorning yourself into moments, you have to be pretty sure that that's something that you want to do, and that's something that, like, your creativity will still be able to push you through for. I know for me, for the last few years, it's been so much fun. Like, I was able to take a couple kernels from that unofficial Tomb King Battle Tome that Tyler built, and just expand off of it to create my own stuff. And even taking in some other people's lore that they had built up, like Randy, who's, of course, world famous from the Rage of Sigmar podcast and from the Dwellers Below.
Mm-hmm.
He's built up this great story for his Tomb Kings, and I was actually able to worm in a little narrative campaign for me and 3 of my buddies, where we sort of played in his sandbox and sort of melded it in with some things that I've been working on.
Yeah, but then you want to take it out of the sandbox and into the wild, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And before we kind of get to that, Coach here has like a pretty solid bit in chat. He said, he's felt the same way for a long time because he played Empire. Thank you so much, Lulu Bell. Lulu on camera there, everybody. He played Empire for 15 years, never really played another army until AOS, and his army was just ripped apart. And so now he's got to cobble together his stuff. So like he's got cities coming, and even then, like cities now has the problem of now it's built expectation, right?
Yeah, and like that's a tome that could do a whole lot of things.
It could do great. It could be great. It could be great for the game. It's an opportunity for world building, model lines. If they actually, some of those, the quote-unquote handful of models that were taken out of circulation, if they actually put a handful back in, like some new kits, some new troop types, like full-on new sculpts, new kits, and new units that are part of the cities and stuff, like what they did with Gloomspite Gets. Where Gloomspite Gets, you got souped in some old stuff, but then you actually got legit new stuff, too. But
I think that's kind of a stretch for that battle tome. I see it kind of as a Legions of Nagash style one, or like a Skaven style one. But
Skaven's the good example, Legions of Nagash is the bad example. Legions of Nagash has like 25 War Scrolls in it, and people play 5 of the kits out of it.
Yeah, but that's the thing. They're learning, right? Like every time they put a battle tome, they take something from it, and they learn, they progress.
It's true.
And that's why that's one of the reasons why it's frustrating, because you can sink so much into one army you like, and it's the first battle tome. Like, I know in 40k people call that like Dark Angel syndrome, because Dark Angels is almost always like the second codex in every single release, and then it just sucks for almost the entirety of it.
Right. Well, but 40k infamously has power creep. Like, truly the new tome is the best thing. Age of Sigmar I don't think has pure power creep the way 40k does.
No.
It's got outliers releases, but it doesn't have like a true creep, because you look at the last like 5 tome releases, they all compete with each other with a couple of outliers.
Yeah. Like I think it's a tiers thing. Like I feel like they kind of do like a section together, and those all sort of even out, and then they'll be like, oh, okay, well we've learned from this section of builds. Now we'll progress on to the next section. And I feel like we're just at the start of a new section.
Symbol, you may not be wrong. I haven't played 40k since about 6th edition, and the power creep was totally the thing. I
Well,
like Imperial Guard got the new tome, tank squads. It was busted and disgusting. Space Wolves famously came near the end of the release. It was just the grossest shit ever, and like it's just they always like leapfrogged each other with the next tome and the next tome. So,
yeah, right now,
but
40K is actually
I
a
don't
pretty good
40k.
spot.
I don't
Like
40k.
they did that great thing where they reset this whole new edition. They built upon it, and I feel like 40K is a good game now, which is great. Like I kind of abandoned it. I didn't vibe with the stratagem style thing, but I think it's a really solid game if you like that sort of build for how you want to doll out your resources. I didn't like it as much,
Right.
but like I think it's good.
No, wouldn't be a
So
rant without my daughter randomly appearing. Um,
ah,
Lily on
she
camera.
rules.
Yeah, she's pretty
Oh,
awesome. So, you said 40k and then springboarding into the next idea.
yeah. So my dude, what good?
I can send mom a message here.
Daddy,
Yeah.
daddy. Oh
Yes,
man, I can't wait for my kid to actually say that intentionally.
Yeah, that's
But-
because that's dog food, and so of course she likes dog food. She's
so
go
what
on.
I'm trying to point out with cities is that it could be this nice next evolution of that style of release where it takes a whole bunch of
It's
units.
Skaven
and
again.
it creates, well, no. I'm trying to say that it creates different pockets for you to play in. Like I feel like it's going to be the next step in the evolution of that sort of tone. Like I think it's a collection tome, but I think that narratively, from what it seems like from the one or two articles, it seems like you're going to be able to build out your own style of city. Because I feel like Skaven is a bit more couched. Like it's a bit more like either you take the Skaven tide like big blob, or you just like you're sucked in little sections that you want. Whereas Legions of Nagash is just like, here's the good stuff. There is only this.
Yeah,
Hope you like it.
yeah, that's the problem with LON is like,
Yeah, and with Skaven, they were able to at least build a few different options, and then have like one larger thing that's a bit more insane. And I feel like Cities has a chance to do the like whole bunch of little sections that you're able to pick through, but then do them so it's not just like, oh, this is the one good one, all the other ones suck. Because they were able to do that with every battle tome after the Caradron Overlord. Like KO was kind of like an inflection point for them where they realized what they were doing and how they were screwing it up. And then ever since then they were able to like blossom.
oh yeah, Nurgle
And
after it came out after
figure out
KO.
how to
Yeah,
like how to write a better battle. And I think this might be an opportunity for that. I'm not trying to put too much onto it, but I think it could be really good.
yeah. Evening, Soren. No, I'm worried that the community is building expectations for cities. I know we have some levity in how we view it and stuff like that, but I think the community is building expectations because the expectations for getting new death weren't, I don't think, community wide built very high. The last release, Night Haunt, we got the re-release of Flesh Eater Courts. Like Death Faction players weren't like waiting at like chomping at the bit, with the exception of TK players who'd kind of been promised like, oh, you're gonna get your thing down the line. But like for the most part, the average Death player wasn't like, what's our new thing? What's our new thing? Right? You know, I was excited, but like my last two experiences were were Flesh Eater Courts, which I'm just not interested in as an army, and Night Haunt, which I'm very meh about. Like I'm happy people like Night Haunt, and that if people who love Spooky Boys got Spooky Boys. I'm really happy for it, but like they're not my thing. I mean, I have a Black Coach door prize sitting over here somewhere because I think the model's sweet as a model, but playing with it on a table would make me want to like throw it across the room. It's like a full pile and distance of overhang on either side, but I digress on that point. The point is, I don't think a Death player was really like super pumped. The way that when they just went in and they removed a handful of models. You have people collecting Wanderers. You have people collecting Dispossessed. You have people collecting, Free Guild or like you have all these like sort of scattered factions, and then like every one of them from all these different walks of the order life are just like, the city's book is coming. Are we going to get Firestorm 2.0, or are we going to get an actual honest attempt at a book?
I think the answer is yes. Like I think it like this is Firestorm 2.0, but I think it's Firestorm 2.0 with a very good stable footing underneath it.
Fair enough.
But that's not really, yeah. But like that's not really the point of what we're trying to do here. Like we're not trying to guess about what cities.
No.
Like it's going to be in the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks maybe.
Yeah.
But we're gonna find out.
Yeah, I'll do a speculation stream on accident the night before everything gets released and be right about like 90% of it. But
yeah, your batting average is pretty insane.
Yeah, for my yeah, it is pretty crazy. All I have to say is Xerxes platform. No, I no, kind of coming back to like this major point, I think is how do you stay enticed with Age of Sigmar? How do you stay engaged when you kind of are factionless? Like if you're the Bone Splitters guy, you love the Feral Magic Orc. 6 months ago, prior to like a Soup Tome announcement with the War Clans book, how were you like, man, I freaking love my tribal magic and my arrow boys and stuff? How do you stay engaged with that? Do you really just kind of what you were talking about a little bit earlier? You have to you have to go those extra miles. You got to find the Tyler like website out there, and
yeah, I don't know. Like for the most part, it's been like kind of clicking along. Like I kind of live in my own little sandcastle, which all ironies abound. And that's been something that like I've kind of had this little carrot at the end of the stick for me. I was able to build up my own narrative, which I think is really important for anybody whenever they're building their own army. And I was able to have this little thing in the back of my mind being like, well, maybe this might happen. Maybe these rumors that I like will be the ones that are true. Mm-hmm. Because there were rumors that like they were going to bring back the Sphinx kit, going to bring back Tomb Guard, and going to bring back the Necropolis Knights, Sepulchral Stalkers dual kit, and have that be like the backbone to build off of.
Like you said, like
Nighthawk. Those were only like made in 2011. Yeah, like Nighthawk. Like I thought that was kind of like my hope, prayer, dream that would happen. But then it didn't, and it landed with a thud.
Well, I think you're taking it. I love you, Tristan. I truly do. Like, yeah. In terms of the community, I have like really met a lot of friends, great people throughout it. But like, I probably have a top 5 list, and you're on it. You and Coach, and sorry to everyone else in chat. But like, and other Andrew doesn't count because he's in my club, and I know him outside of the game. But like,
he doesn't count because he's actually my.
Yeah, because he's like and that's the thing is like you meet strangers online, and then how do you form bonds with them, and that like last outside the game. Now you're planning trips to like, well, let's both go to this tournament together. That sort of thing is. That's another layer. I've played competitive games. I've been around the convention scenes of anime and video games from the EVOs and the Paxis and the various anime conventions my whole life. And the number of people I've made in those various circles that I've bonded with as intensely as Age of Sigmar players pales in comparison. It's like I have theories on why it works that way, but I truly. Maybe it's me, it's my age now. I'm starting to get up there where I'm like, I need these stronger bonds, but I don't think so. Again, I've been a nerd my whole life. So
yeah, and like it's harder to make friends when you're whenever you're an adult. It's just straight up true. Like I don't have as many friends as I used to, and quite frankly, the Age of Sigmar community has been incredible. I lost my job, and within 24 hours. I had somebody saying, hey, do you want to move across the country? I'll get you a job with my company. Shout to LLV. Like, it's just incredible. Like, the people that you can meet here will just accept you for who you are because you have this thing that makes up so much of your core ideal of how you think things should go in life because of how large of a concept this war game is. It's insane.
Even even the filthiest players I know are like, I feel like it's not my story to share, but even the filthiest players I know get excited about sculpts. Does that make sense? Where you're like, there's the tournament whack guy who only cares about winning, and then they're just like, I hate playing this army, even though it's the best army because I hate the sculpts. You watch that happen.
Everybody hates flesh eater sculpts. Like, that's just it. Like, do you like ghouls? You're lying. You're lying to yourself.
That's true. Yeah, it's true. Like, oh man, like you can't even. They're just fleshy blobs of like monotony, and you can't even distinguish them.
I like to think of them like this: they are the death version of fire slayers.
Yes.
And like, they're the poop emoji with bones sticking out. These are my thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, they're because they are naked. They are naked sculpts as well as like because fire slayers are naked baby men, and you have naked baby vampires, and like they're just not.
Why can't we have pants? Why can't we have pants?
I don't.
Pants are a thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
look how good Gotrek looks. He looks so good in his jeans
with just pants and boots.
Shit. If I end up painting Gotrek, whatever the heck his last name is, son. I'm definitely putting that little selvage denim line on that jean.
Like, he's rocking tight jeans because he knows how to work it.
That's a very fine like right hand spun twill like selvage denim like that's like he doesn't wash that for 3 months and hits it with the vinegar so it locks in the fade. There you go. Probably got some fine ass.
Listen to these advanced hobby strats for your IRL going on right now. Like how to get those pristine jeans, yo.
Listen, I've been posting in a lot of really weird forums for my entire life. Shouts to Super Future, let's get it.
Yeah, right on.
But yeah, I don't know. It's tough to build continuously your own narrative whenever there's no light at the end of the tunnel. Like, I know for me, in the last probably 2 weeks, ever since that announcement, I had this, like, huge downward like, Shyish Nadir spiral that I just felt like everything was sucking in, and I kind of get hit with what's the point?
Well,
like, why am I investing so much time into this whenever this sucks?
Well, I mean, it's like table flip. I like that we got your, like, a little bit of your origin story and how you like the personality of the army really is what resonated kind of early for you, and how do you capture personality for an army going forward, you know, with some of these ancillary things. But that's not even the point. Like, you took it. I mean, Dan I don't know if I should say last names, but on Twitter he was kind of ambivalent. He's just like meh. Like, every response was just meh for the most part regarding a lot of this Ossiarch Born Reapers.
Okay, we have to pay respects to the god Dan Brewer.
Yeah.
Because holy shit, that man is amazing.
No, he's a great dude.
That guy is not only, I think, the best Age of Sigmar player in Australia. Like, I don't feel like I'm speaking out of turn when I say that.
Coach can confirm or deny.
Yeah. It's like, he's just a genuine person, and he's one of those guys that likes what he likes. And he took a look at the Ostrich Bonefuckers, and he was like, that's not Tomb Kings. Those are Morgats. I know what those are. No thanks. I'll be over here playing with my rats and my skeleton.
And that's the thing, he's got a fallback plan where his Skaven got bumped up, and you were just all in on the Tomb Kings. Like, what? Yeah. Like, do you have a second army? Like, I mean, I know you've been doing some stuff with a Cypher for Warcry, but tie top for voice, but yeah. So the Cypher, yeah.
Yeah, that's me trying to figure out how to actually make people look like they're not just white people with skin tones. I don't really have a second army. Like, my second army is running my Tomb Kings as Legions of the Gash.
Yeah.
That's my second army. And I don't really do that because locally, the players I play with are more narrative focused, or like
So
they
you
just
can
want to have.
you can just stomp a waffle hole in them with the with the TK and stuff, or competitive
Yeah,
games without going full LON. Right.
yeah. Like I played Flesh Eater Courts last week, and again, and like I won that game, and I don't know how because I was sitting there being like, oh, I hope he doesn't do that. Oh, I hope he doesn't do that. And then it's just like, you're not gonna Highland twice with your cool King on Terrorgeist in Crystal Gore? Okay.
Yeah,
It's stuff like that. Like we don't have people that play a ton. Like I wish I could play more. I don't get a chance to play as much as I'd like to. But since I've played with Tomb Kings for however many years now, I've got a handle on the army, and um, it's just like I'm able to have a good game. It can be fun for both people. Like it's a little bit annoying because like mine's kind of like a little dirge where it's just like, oh, you think you're done? Here's more
yeah,
sneaky
the
skeletons.
attrition. Yeah, the attrition game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've beaten Skaven. I have a 100% win rate against Skaven right now, and I don't deserve it. I simply don't deserve it because uh the LGS, like the directly LGS, are like Warhammer Fantasy players. They still call Age of Sigmar Warhammer Fantasy, to put it in perspective. And like I just yeah, I show up and then they just and I don't even like play really hard as nails lists or at all.
Yeah.
And then like we have games and usually it's pretty one-sided and like I feel bad and I bring softer lists and stuff like that and it's like you're not I don't even think they think of the
It
game
just
this
keeps happening.
and I'm like I'm personally not getting like good reps in because I want to go to tournaments and I want to not have my imposter syndrome kick in every single time I show up to a tournament and I have a losing record, I'm like I know this game and that I'm good at this game, but like then that other part happens. Like I don't so like I'm not getting quality reps at the LGS anymore, and so now like I get my most quality reps at a tournament and I never make the same mistake twice and stuff like that, and so I do feel I'm getting better and better, but it's like I've checked out from my LGS scene now. Like I'm completely checked out. I have to drive an hour
That sucks.
to get a good. I like the owner of the store, so I go in there. I buy all my like consumables, I call them, locally. But and I have if I ever route my tickets past his place of business, nice little Mortis engine there. If I ever I'll route my tickets past his place of business and go in and talk to him and I'll buy stuff from him and because I like him, I love him, but he's a 40K player, and so he like humors me every time I have an Age of Sigmar conversation. He's just humoring me. Thank you so much for that follow there, Symbol.
One of my favorite people that I never get to play is the guy who works at the local game store at Les, and he's mostly a 40K guy. Like he has some Age of Sigmar stuff, and like he's so much fun to play with. But it's just whenever you're trying to have those in-depth, ridiculous like AOS conversations with somebody who's more like a tertiary AOS player, it's kind of hard.
Yeah, I mean like.
And like Les even plays Age of Sigmar. Like he's kicked my ass with his Slaves of Darkness before, which is amazing.
Right.
But it's hard to have those conversations with people whenever they aren't as into it as you are. It's like trying to talk to like my dad's a huge college basketball guy, but I'm really into the NBA because I like people who can make shots. Like that's my thing. I don't know. I think it's a cool thing when the thing goes in the thing. And so, like, you're speaking a similar language, but it's not quite the same.
Right.
Like, if you decide to wake up early these days, you can watch FIBA basketball, and that's the international basketball. It's like played by different rules. So, like, you're watching it, like the shape of the game is similar, but not quite there when it comes to talking about professional basketball. So, like, different things are more important, and that's why talking to a 40K player about like Age of Sigmar stuff is pretty tough because like you're speaking such a similar language, but it's a circle going into a square hole. Just doesn't quite work.
Yeah. No, I still dig the LGS man, and I continuously give him my money for again the consumables. I any big box orders I'm sorry, I have 2 kids. I got to order online, but. But
Hey,
I mean,
shouts to mini stuff. He's a dude.
yeah, he is a dude. He is the dude. Um, yeah,
I've had so like, yeah. Continue.
no. I just no, he's a great dude. Mental reps are great. I mean, I'm a theory crafter, which is why I think I'm pretty on point with my like meta predictions and stuff like that. Is because I see the game very well, and I see. Uh, I've played games my entire life. I've been a DM or GM, whichever your preferred vernacular is, of tabletop like RPGs. The vast majority of it, and I'm a writer. Like writers are dealing patterns and rules, and like I see all of that stuff really well. Like I'm the person you hate watching a movie with because I sit down and in the establishing shot I figured it out. Like it's called
Yeah.
Andrewing around in this town. It's called I just Andrewed the movie. Like Molly, it's so bad because I've taught Molly how to like certain things where she notices like just simple thing like premise, like expectation and subversion, or premise and proving the premise. And I've taught her those two tricks to like plots, and so now she can notice every scene. What's the premise? What's the expectation, and how will they subvert it? And so like she can do it now through like the whole. And I'm like, so you just start to like feel terrible, but that's that's completely off script here. Talking AOS, equating it to how I ruin movies for my wife. Yeah. No, but like, so, what's your path forward here? Because
I I honestly don't know. Like right now,
I mean,
my
I'm
whole
looking at this
hobby-
majestic as fuck bone giant, so obviously this
Yeah,
has to get finished.
yeah. I've got a couple things that like I really want to finish up. I really want to get done, and like I'm pretty inspired by still. Like I have a Tomb King's Warcry warband that I'm working on using Legion of the Gash rule because whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what
and
Warcry is
I
hobby
want to
small
finish
scale.
off. Yeah, and like I want to finish off that Bone Giant because he looks dope as hell, and I think it's gonna be fun to have that for my local scene because we're gonna start doing Warcry like weeknights. And I don't know, I'm not really sure. The big thing for me is I'm trying to find that spark again because like I for the most part like had a pretty large beating heart, like pretty big flame for what I've been doing, but I stupidly got my expectations up for the tithe announcement. Like I was down. I was like, okay, listen, maybe I won't like it. Maybe it's fine. Whatever. Then there were a couple more leaks. There were a couple more little things. I got a little whisper from the little bird being like, they're gonna bring back those kits, and I was like, ooh. Then I was pulled all the way back in about like 2 weeks before.
Yeah, I don't know. The one video where it opens where he's talking about being basically loyal to Nagash, I'm like, I don't think this is Tomb King's, which is where I was at.
Yeah, but for me it was like, okay, this is how they get them into the universe. Like I can explain it away. Then the second video I was like, oh, okay, I guess not. And the third video I was like, oh, okay, well that guy's kind of cool looking. And then the fourth video I was like, oh god, those faces.
Well, so the one the Night Haunt, was it the Night Haunt video or the Malign Portents where there's the monster and the tide behind the Stormcast, and there's a very pretty famous picture. Gosh, man, Coach, help me out. You're more of a lore guy than me. There's a picture in one of the early like teasers from last year, where it's got like a monster in the wave, and it's got a Stormcast model, or not a Stormcast model, but a Stormcast character fighting some death character. And it's like we haven't seen the monster in the tidal wave yet. And was
Are you talking about the one that was just like released for Forbidden Power?
maybe that's it, Forbidden Power?
Is it big? Like, is the color green?
Maybe.
Because if so, that's from Forbidden Power, and that's supposed to be like
Catacross, because it doesn't look like Catacross to me in the
No,
wave.
it doesn't.
And
Doesn't
so-
either. And like to me, like it looked like a Lich Priest. Like
Yeah, and so the rumors are that like either Catacross has a right on. The rumors are is that like Catacross is going to have a Marathi like quality to him, where he's got like another form you put down, or that there's 9 Mortarks, right?
Mhm.
And we've got the core 3, Archon, Archon the Black, Neferata, and Manfred. Sorry, I had something in my throat there. And then now you've got this dude. You still have 5 other Mortarks to come. So like, I don't want to say there's hope for TK because I don't. I've always been of the mind that they're. I have 2 takes on it, but you have 5 other Mortarks to come. I think your way to getting the TK aesthetic is through Boom Mephisto. I think your way of getting the TK aesthetic is through Archon's inevitable betrayal.
Because I don't know.
Because he's got the Khemri. He's got the Khemri. Oh yeah, Olander. Right, I forgot about her. So we got 4 more to come.
Yeah.
But you've got the. See, there's your Archon there.
Well, let's knock the dust off this old Archon and all spider webs.
Yeah, so 4 more Tarks left.
Yeah, so like just looking at him,
He's got the headpiece. It's
not that Khemri. Like it's not that.
Not Khemri enough. Could be more Khemri.
Like he has the same plates as the bone fucker.
The Morghast. Yeah, it's Morghast
like
again.
It's just that he has skulls on things.
Yeah.
And he's got that little frill up the back, but he's not like it doesn't echo the same things that let's say the bone giant that I have here does.
Metal as hell.
Straight up doesn't.
Yeah, fair enough.
Disappointing. This bone tithe has kind of extinguished my hope for the future for my army to have a chance to come back into AOS proper.
Well, the joke I made, sort of tone deaf wise, about how like AOS is a party, and you have people standing outside the window like looking in at the party, and a lot of people.
That picture that I posted.
Yeah, you posted the picture, and like so you're right now you're actually at the glass like looking in, and it's raining on you currently, and this is not the direction I wanted to go with tonight's stream, by the way. But hey, misery is therapy too, so let's go. Like I think there's a fraternity to factions. And I don't mean fraternity as in like the patriarchal sense. I mean family, like fraternal. Like where you have like IJ players, for instance, are the most, I think, like just loyal of probably anybody. Just as a total, like you have in any faction, you have like your most loyal players of TK, of Empire, of whatever. But IJ as a whole, like you walk into an LGS. An orc player. Like that's the orc player. Like you go to the tournaments, like the guy screaming, "Wah!" Like, yep, he's always been an orc player. Like orc players.
With now and forever.
Yeah, and so like and they played through their ebbs and flows of their army being pretty awesome. They did the mixed destruction thing. IJ was really getting pretty down and out the last pair of GHBs, and now they're with the most recent one, they're pretty good, in a pretty good place, and looking forward to an even better place with the new tome coming out that'll hopefully give them a couple extra tools, and now boom, they're a powerhouse again. Snowburb. So like there's like a fraternity I feel between factions. Like I'm a death player because as we kind of established early on in the show, I picked up where I left off before the true divide, right? Yeah. And to me, death is death. I know Cetra's got his like little quarrel, but he was a retcon anyway, so I don't care. Nagash needed a better backstory, so they wrote Cetra.
I guess, yeah, they wrote an actually interesting character.
Yeah, it's true, yeah. But no, so like, to me, death is death, and so I feel like a great deal of fraternity to death players. I won my sports trophy because I got pissed off at a TGA forum that said, death players have the lowest sports scores, why is that? And this dates all the way back to TK. Yeah. And I'm just like, motherfucker, we're not any more of assholes than you. You just have a perception. And so, like, I made it a point to prove that death players are total bros too, or total brosettes. Like,
Yeah.
um, like it's just like so I think there's a fraternity between factions, and obviously with grand alliances. But as the game gets more refined, you have more factions. You have more like the groups are getting smaller. But I do think that like you have those base allegiances. So do you still feel like you're like a death player? Like I am a death player, or are you
Uh,
TK first?
uh, like as time's gone on, I feel like I'm more TK first than a straight up Grand Alliance death player, as much as people like to make that joke.
Fair enough.
Like for me, there is a pretty big divide on the way the two armies play. Like I played Legions of Nagash, I played Tomb Kings.
Well, you have a shooting phase for one.
Well, yeah, kind of. God, that went away. Thanks, GHP 2018. And it's just like to me they're very different. It's like if you play Bone Splitters versus Iron Jaws. Like they're still orcs, totally. Like
right. No, it's a good
like it's two
parallel.
sides of the same coin. And I used to feel more like a just general death player, but as things have been more couched, and to be honest, the Honest Wargamer kind of made me feel like I should pick a side.
Weird.
Because not so much. Like about a year and a half ago, Rob kind of started championing this idea of picking an army to do for a year and doing it all year long and just diving into it and then being like, okay, that was my army for this year. And like just to be a bit more team oriented, like just to bring back the sports analogies that I love so much.
Yeah.
And I feel like I was generally a death fan. Like if you're into football, it'd be like, okay, I really like the NFC. Like generally that kind of like those teams are kind of like the teams that I like to concentrate on. For me, that was I like death. I like figuring out what death does. I like the mechanics of the army. But after a bit, I was like, okay, let's suck this in a little bit more. Like, oh, I'll concentrate more on the Tomb Kings and more on that play style and figure out more of the idiosyncrasies of these. So like I started just playing Tomb Kings every chance I got.
Real quick, Molly needs me downstairs.
Okay.
Can you finish your thought without me, or?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Chat, keep him engaged.
I don't need no man.
Need no man.
For me, the big thing was being able to concentrate on that force, to be able to go down to the brass tacks of it. Like I started practicing my deployments. I started figuring out the little idiosyncrasies of each list that I could write solely with Tomb Kings instead of flicking back and forth like I was doing. Like every second game, I was probably doing Legions of Nagash just to figure it out because it was like a brand new fancy battle tome, and I even converted up some grave sites. But I just decided just to hone it down, like just to suck in that little bit more, my concentration, my thought process, my creative process, just on like what I want my Tomb Kings army to be. Because to me, that was the fulcrum. That was the modus operandi. It was like the thing that really made me love the hobby was this army, the way that it played and the way that I got enjoyment from it. Like I never was interested in like painting actual dire wolves or zombies or corpse card or anything like that. To me, like body horror is not that interesting. To me, it was the play style of Tomb King that I found super interesting because they had so many options. I was able to concentrate more on chariots, which are such a mobile anvil, and like, you can absolutely stick a 6-pack of those into just about anything, and they're not going anywhere unless something goes horribly wrong with the rolls. Or you have options. Like there's so many battle line options in a Tomb King's army that it makes other ones look laughable. Like Caradron Overlords has 1, Tomb Kings has 4. Like the possibilities to just stick inside this faction and just play it for years were wide open. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to walk through that door. I'm going to try to build all the units for it. I want to build a max unit of just about everything, and I want to try out the different playstyles because they have the super mobile army, they have the really big blobs, they have the big heavy hitters, and they have shooting, which is something that for a long time in the game wasn't a big deal, but I always thought was something that I could get into a little bit later. Like, I know that it would take a fair bit of conversion work, and like I've got a bunch of old skeletons that I need to snap apart, like mine for bits. But I thought that it was something I'd be able to do for a super long time. But as the games progressed, I kind of
Well, you said Rob got on.
behind.
You said Rob got on the kick of like sticking with an army for a year. How
Yeah.
On a linear scale for no reason of like 1 to 12, how well have you executed that?
I'd say I've failed at the 1 year part.
Okay.
But I've stuck with it pretty, like, ever since I made that decision that I'm going to sort of follow that lead that the Honest Wargamer crew set out, that I've stuck with it. Like, I think I've played maybe 1 game, maybe 2 games of Legions of Nagash.
Couple outliers isn't going to break it, but
No, but
break
like
this
the
shit.
thing is, like it was just that core idea of I'm just gonna play Tomb Kings. I want to get good at playing these guys. I feel like I have a handle on this army.
Well, and
And
you mentioned you got a hand.
now I do.
LGS,
Yeah,
like you're beating Flesh Eater Courts and just stuff because you do see the army from that third dimension. The sticking with an army for a year perspective isn't just a Honest Wargamer Rob thing. Like in Magic the Gathering, we recommend it's more about archetypes than specific decks in Magic the Gathering, but sticking with an archetype for a year because then you get to like learn that next tier. Or like if you're a rushdown player in Street Fighter, play rushdown characters so that you
Sure, I know
learn.
what that means.
Rushdown is Ken. Get in your face and try to beat you real fast.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
you have like sort of like zoning characters that like play from a distance and try to zone. You have there's a bunch of different stuff, projectile characters, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like there's
Different places.
yeah, exactly.
Picking one.
Yeah. So there's that concept exists in a lot of competitive gaming where but a lot of it has to do with, and I don't know Rob's full take, but a lot of it from those other perspectives is how you see the game as like from a rules and knowing if you know your 4 battle line and you know then KO only has 1 and you understand the impact on list building from that now because you know how your army is and then you can compare it to other armies and you learn all those extra details about it that if you play an army for 3 months, you know, you hobby it, you paint it, you've got a great turnover, you don't have kids, you turn over an army in about 3 months and you take it to a couple tournaments and then you're on the next army in the next 3 months and so on and so forth. You never get that like that coming at an army from a different angle perspective where you have problems you can't deal with and you have to figure them out from a limited perspective. The best way to get people to solve a problem is to put them in a box. Give them constraints. Yeah. And then they'll
100%.
Yeah. I mean, in writing, I'm way better with a deadline than I am without a deadline. In school, if you say write about anything, think of how much people procrastinate versus if you say, hey, write this. You know, like it's giving people a box to work in helps them think outside of it.
Yeah, and I think that's something that creatively is what you should do. Even when it comes to your own narratives, like I know we're talking about play styles, we're talking about more the gaming aspect of it.
I think it applies to.
It can apply to just about everything that you do. Like I know whenever I was a drummer in like an indie rock band, like for me it was I'm just gonna try to get into the pocket, do as simple a thing as I can do, and my whole thing is I want to do simple. I know the band The Hives. For the longest time, their whole thing was we want to play as fast and as simply as possible. Then after a bit, they switched to I just want to play as hard as humanly possible, and that was just the point of their writing. Like that was how they came about it, and that's why they were able
fucking
to write,
respect
like,
that. I respect that.
And like it's just like I'm just gonna play hard.
Do a simple thing well.
And this is my thing. Yeah, do a simple thing well. It's like the quote unquote Japanese way of doing things. That you pick something and you're just gonna hone it down until it's absolutely perfect, or you're just gonna pick something and become the master of it. And I'm not trying to say I'm like a master of Tomb Kings or anything like that. Like
I'd say you are. Look at this fucking chariot here.
Thank you. I like that chariot.
Yeah.
But for me, like I know there's people that play Tomb King better than I do. Like I still have to make sure it's like, do they move 8 or do they move 10? Because I have an idea in my head visually of how far things go. Like it's funny because like I played them so much, I don't remember the exact number, but spatially I know how far this unit goes. That's the weird part.
That's reps, and that's taking the linear thought and applying it to a 3-dimensional space. That just comes with reps. I mean, you know your army in and out, so like you will get more quality reps every time you play that army than if you don't know your army whatsoever and you just go and play it. So like, but I'd say you're an expert on Tomb Kings. Like you've got a good lineage of it. The modeling, you're a hobby hero. I don't know if you've acquired your hobby hero status, or if you think you have, but I mean, you inspire me. What are you talking about? Like, look at this. Look at the basing, the color use here. Like, sure. I like how you managed to make gold not gaudy, but distinctly gold. That's tough to pull off. And then you even have it reflected in the bird's wings, but with a natural tan that plays into that shimmer of the gold. Like, this is good stuff. Another visual interesting. You've got the sort of like the red face here, but then you've got, it's a distinctly red from all the other reds you use throughout the model, but because you have that red dappled throughout the mantle on the lich back here, like it carries your eye in this diagonal pattern, like right through it. And diagonal symmetry is literally what you're supposed to do with painting. That's why they teach you the tic-tac-toe board. I don't know if you know about that, but they teach you the tic-tac-toe board. Okay, for photography, it's a big thing is you have a tic-tac-toe board, and the focus of your image should be at the middle, and then you play with that wherever you put the eye.
Oh, yeah. I know rule of thirds. I have a photography degree. I was a professional photographer for about 3.5 years. I did mostly lifestyle, and then I moved into wedding photography, but I never really thought about extrapolating that onto color placement onto models.
Yeah.
For me, it was I wanted to create triangles because that's something I learned from Vince at Warhammer Weekly. Like, I just watched a whole bunch of Vince's videos and I took some things from there, and that's kind of how my painting style evolved. I know, like, I find it kind of mind blowing when people tell me that they love my stuff, or they've seen my army online and they talk to me about it. Like mostly online, and it's always like, wait, what? Really? You like that?
Yeah, no, I mean, it looks great, man. You're rocking it. I think that these Azurite ruins could use a little work. I don't know about the green on green, but no, like you could have a little tan in that column there, right in the ribboning.
Well, like actually, the funny thing is, I'm being a dick. Thinking about repainting that. Whatever. I actually want to go back and repaint that pillar to match some ruins that I'm building right now, to make it more of a sandstone, so that way it doesn't detract the eye from the rest of the model, but still.
Because that green's pretty high contrast to the rest. There's no gradient to it, so it's like here is green, and then the rest of it's like so perfectly.
Yeah, and so like I'm trying to find a balance, and like that's what's important for me is I'm trying to put at least in 3 different places a certain color, and that green's just in the one. And that's something again that I just got from watching videos,
that's Vince, yeah,
like right. trying to figure out stuff.
So I mean, I spend my AOS time is mostly devoted to having opinions about Age of Sigmar, and
work day. Continue.
And like I think everyone like kind of like commits themselves to certain aspects of it. If you don't live in an area where you just have an abundance of games or quality, like if I lived in Milwaukee, I'd play twice a week. I live outside of Milwaukee, north by an amount, but like, so I have to commit myself to other areas, which is whatever. You commit yourself a lot to the hobby, so naturally you're going to have a talent in it, because art is a skill. You can
just get in reps.
Yeah, you get the reps.
It's like a jump shot, whatever.
Yeah, yeah, you've put in the reps on your hobby and stuff like that too. So I mean, humility is a virtue, but this is great work. No, uh, you do good work, and so
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
no, I love it. You've
You're
inspired
welcome.
me too. Like I've looked at some of your stuff. I know we had the request to put up the chariot, but I wanna bring back up
Yeah,
your giant here,
from Master Margot. Is it Magro or is it Margro?
Magro.
Okay,
I
you have to
mean,
look
he's
that up.
got an accent, so it could be anything. I have no idea.
Oh, shoot, man.
But with this, and I don't think this one's like obviously it's not complete here. But I love that I can see the brain working where the bone itself is what you look at and you go, this is bone. This is not bone. This is the armor. This is the exterior. And then
Hmm.
what this model really is you've got this green here, and
Yeah,
I love that. Like it's kind of,
it's.
yeah, go.
Well, no, you continue.
No, it's playing with your expectations. You look at the bone giant model and you're like, I'm gonna see, and then like, oh crap, like there's this another layer to this. I like the green. I like that you get this color variance in here. Sort of like
Yeah.
fetid corpse thing with the green is really cool too.
The it actually became inspired from some shop tea that I have. Just like show up. Let's see. Bam. Hit that. Hit that.
You need to, there you go. We need a little bit of a light.
Yeah.
Right
Anyway,
on.
so that green actually came inspired from wanting to do more of like a jade sculpture. And like I wanted to have a super bright, punchy color because I know that's something that I remembered that, well, not so much I remembered, but that's something that I like in any kind of miniature war game. Like I like bright colors. The core idea of this army was to make super rad skeletons that are gonna surf hang 10 and then dunk on your ass as they whoop you.
Oh yeah.
Um, like I didn't want it. Like I've seen for years all like the darker, dour, more like grim looking Tomb Kings models, and I always thought they would have looked way better if they were way more electric and like they had more life to them.
Mm-hmm.
Because in my mind, I'm seeing like all the turquoises, I'm seeing all the like super bright, beautiful colors that come from that Egyptology exhibit that I saw when I was 7. Like to me, that's just an explosion of color and like dark contrast, and, like
Oh yeah,
pounding
like
that
the burial shawls
plank.
are like super intricate and stuff.
Yeah, and like I always thought it was weird that it was like, oh, here's a dark red one, and here's some black. Please enjoy. To me, like this army screams to get color put on it, and I just really love the opportunity to be able to do it.
You find ways to
I
work it in. I love it.
Yeah, and like I don't know, if I'm gonna do it. Screw it, I'm gonna do it the way that I want.
Look, you even have this. I love the little silver strap for the foot, and you find really good logical places to get the colors in. So like we got the foot strap silver, and then like that's actually in the sort of tabard there in the center, and I mean
Yeah,
you find a color in the model and it brings you to a different section of the model. So that's really, I mean, pardon the pun, but that's really fucking metal. uh,
damn metal kid. Yeah, well, like with the metallics, like I like to have a bunch of warm, but I always like try to work in a little bit of cooler metals. Like that was supposed to be kind of like a little bit of an interplay with the blue tabard. That's also like the blue gems. Like I wanted to kind of keep that big sweep that has your eyes and sort of like blazes over the blue. Then the other colors are what you pick up.
yeah, and as you move up, it gets warmer too. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
yeah.
and right now I'm currently battling with myself and with some recommendations that I have because I'm really lucky. I'm in a bunch of groups of people that I think are amazing painters and whose color theory and like placement I really respect. Like there's a Tomb Kings WhatsApp group that I think is full of the best hobbyists that I know.
Mm-hmm.
Like a bunch of the Neo guys over in the UK, like Tyler Mangles and that, Vince Ventrilla from or Ventrella. What?
I say
realized I was saying his
Venturella, and
name.
he hasn't corrected me yet.
That's it.
I think it's
Venturella.
Venturella, but
But like Vince is in the group, and like I'll just be like, "Hey, what do you guys think? Should I do it this way or that way?" And I had a whole bunch of people tell me I should do his face white for the bone giant. And in my head, it's like, but but his face is green.
See, I was thinking green too. Like, this is logical.
Yeah. Okay.
But...
All right. Well, I'm just.
But I'm not a I'm not a hobby hero. I have no idea.
Gavin.
Yeah. No, I think green because the body, like, I almost look at like he's the green body and stuff, and he's got all the accessories on top, and
yeah.
But that's yeah. So
that's just that.
So is
I mean, my rule.
Is the hobby a good link to carry your Tomb Kings forward, do you think? Because the visual, you talk about, like, the Egyptology site, is that not enough? Like, it's, you don't know, because I know you don't always want to be bashing everything. This goes back to early on, pick an army you like the aesthetic of, right? Like,
the thing is, I'm a really positive person just in life. Like, it's one of the things that I feel really lucky that my, like, brain is switched on to.
I'm not.
I'm posy as fuck. I'm twee as fuck. Like, I just want to do really cute, nice things and have fun doing it.
I have to work real hard.
That's like how I know it's funny because, like, I'm always drawn to people that have a bit more darkness to them, which I feel like you do in a good way.
I am how do I put it? I am self-aware of my darkness. And
yeah, and I think it's really important to be self-aware, and, like, I'm self-aware of my ability to just be like, no, it's fine. Ooh, stars, colors.
Man,
it's green.
Like, this fucking purple. Who would have thought to put purple on this glider? And then you're just like, bam, purple, and you made it work. Like, sorry, go on. like
a lot of my decisions, I just go with gut instinct and be like, I guess this is where this color goes. Because for this army, I tried to pick 3 major pillars to go with. Knew I was going to have a ton of bone and gold, which is kind of like a yellowy white. And then I wanted to have 2 other colors. I wanted to have purpley pink, which is mostly based off of Screamer pink. And then I was going to have another blue color. And with that, I ended up going with a Sotek green or, like, Temple Guard blue. And, like, I wanted to have that, like, nice little triangle of colors where it's like, okay, 2... like a warm 1 or 2, which are going to be fairly dominant, and then with a cooler 1 or 2. Because Screamer Pink has a bunch of blue in it, and obviously the blues are, like, super green and blue. And I wanted to have that that interplay between warmer colors and cooler colors. And then I wanted to push the contrast after a while. Because that's something that I came... Excuse me, Snowbird taking me for juicy IPAs.
Yeah, I is this one of those juicy? It says juicy IPA. Does it have a citrus quality to it?
Mm-hmm. But this isn't the Mitzi and Jimbo show, and this isn't cold enough.
Okay, hang on, Wisconsin. We're allowed to talk about our beers.
True.
And I even said it super Wisconsin. I was like, beers. Beers. It was the most Midwest accent I've had on the show. Beers. It was like, it's just, anyway, it's like it's spelled with an I-E.
Now you know when we're drinking beers.
The beers there. Yeah. Oh, so good.
Beers there, don't you know? Yeah.
Yeah, up there.
Right, delicious.
Right. Oh, I'm gonna head down there, over there, Prince Edward Island. Yeah.
Up there. Yeah, oh man, I love Wisconsin.
Oh god.
Whenever I was, oh god.
Oh god.
Whenever I was 19,
oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Okay, so I have a deep spiritual connection. I have a deep connection with Wisconsin itself. My grandfather lived there for years. He lived in Appleton. And so we went down, we visited once or twice, and, like, to me, Wisconsin was always this nice place that my grandpa was from, who I didn't get to see as much as I'd like, obviously. And we ended up going there whenever he passed away, and I was 21 or 22 after he passed away. And I ended up just being able to, like, just go by myself to just a local dive bar. And I ended up having the nicest, sweetest time with a whole bunch of buddies in, like, camo, and they're sitting there just drinking our beers. And
beers. There was beers.
Yeah, there you go. It's just for you. And it's and it was just like it just really warmed my heart and made me love the place even more. Like I always knew that I liked it, just kind of in general, because like we've been there once or twice, and everyone was always super nice. The countryside was really nice. But that just gave me like a whole new like appreciation for the people of Wisconsin. Like
we've got our issues. The
oh,
reason
100%. Like what the fuck is Scott Walker doing? What a piece of shit.
Well, he's gone now. He's gone. He's fucking out. Thank God. Shit, I just lost a bunch of follows. Yeah, no. If you don't want the full Mephisto, the full Andrew, then whatever. I'm a man of many opinions. Pardon me. No, it's like we've got our issues, but if you know how to talk to people, there's a lot of rewarding times to be had in Wisconsin. And I swear half the reason I'm into sports is because it's like a universal language. I like baseball, basketball, football. I like the big three, essentially. And I actually really like soccer, go Man U. But I know. I'm sorry. And it's all based on a meme. It has nothing to do with the actual team. It's a total meme that I like them. Also my friend in high school. But I won't go into it. No, but like you could go as long as you have the right like tongue. So like Wisconsin, you can talk football, and now baseball for a long time, and now basketball. Like everyone cares about how the Bucks are doing. Like,
which is insane.
It's crazy. It's the Bucks. Well, I thought about like the Bucks playing the Raptors, and I think about like my kids getting into cool mascots, right? And so, Colin, my son, Bango is one of the best mascots ever. And I was just about to kind of go there. It's
Benny the Bull, and then Bango's like down here with the rest of them. Continue.
Ouch. No, like we went to Summerfest, and the Rim Rockers, which is our national award-winning dunk team, was there along with Bango, and what the fuck's his name? He was on Golden State Warriors. Big man, ankle breaker, like God, I can't recall his name. Anyway,
ankle breaker?
He
steps underneath Zaza.
Yeah, Zaza. Yeah, so Zaza was a Buck.
Okay.
Yeah, Zaza was
a man with a very large forehead.
Oh yeah, he's got a 5 head.
Yeah, 100%.
So Zaza was there with it. Anyway, and Colin's like a year and a half or whatever, and he sees Bango, and he is just like into Bango, and I'm like, the mascot got him. Like, so he will.
That's my guy.
He will forever be a Bucks fan, right? And because it's like mascots, they get kids. They're for kids, because like if you go into it as a teenager. Bucks, not very intimidating. I'm sorry.
I'm out.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm out. Point of order. Yuppie is my fucking dude. Ride or die till death. He is an apomorphous blob who's orange, who represented the Montreal Expos. He then got traded whenever the Expos moved down to, I don't know, wherever, like one of the shittiest places in the United States. National? That's it. And so went my baseball fandom. But Yuppie got traded to another Canadian team because that's how good of a mascot he was. Continue. Bango, amazing. Let's go.
Yeah, no, Bango's great. Bango is legitimately a great mascot, actually, like in terms of what mascots do and stuff. But if you just like look at the thing that the team is like a fucking wizard for the Magic, and just fucking good. Like you look at like just as an adult, like a raptor would totally whoop a deer's ass. You know, like a wizard would beat all of their asses. Like.
Just like this year's playoff.
God, I can't even. Too soon. Like I think about like the things I would like as an adult to get me into the game. Like I'd be like, a fucking wizard? Yeah, I'm gonna be a wizard fan. But it's not about that when you think about like the way that the community outreach and the mascots go down. And I just find that to be an interesting little interplay with the sports. Where is the skeleton mascot? It's skeleton.
Time out. I have an answer for this. The answer is Pelicans' original mascot, or I think it's Big King Baby for New Orleans. And he's a terror. Like, he's basically a flesh eater core. It's fucking terrifying. It's I don't know what it is, but it's straight nightmare fuel. But the original Pelicans mascot and the original or the still Big King Baby or whatever his name is, straight up nightmare fuel. Yeah, I don't know. But bringing it back, like when it comes to mascots, like each and every AOS thing has its own mascot.
Maw Crusher, totally the IJ mascot, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh my god, can you imagine a Maw Crusher but as like
mascot? Like a bat? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, and like you know how like the switching sports here, but like the Broncos actually have, or no, it's the Colts have an actual horse on the field or whatever.
Yeah.
Like the Maw Crusher, like they have like a fucking animatronic like Maw Crusher or something.
It's just a bulldog that's painted green.
Oh yeah, like it's like a bulldog, and he's got the little cabbage wings. That'd be great.
Probably right up there.
Yeah, the big city crushes, the big city Maw Crushes. Like, oh man, this is what...
That sounds like that mini stomp fantasy football league they're started up.
You all ready for this? Bad at that. Like, it's just like they come out. Yeah, like, so the faction mascot of Tomb Kings. Like, just bring it back in. What's the Tomb Kings? I don't think it's Necrosphinx. Necrosphinx is super iconic, but it's collectible. Yeah. It's got to be more identifiable. You know what I'm saying? It's
like I don't like Tomb Kings are funny because I feel like there's a couple different paragons for it, right? Like you could have just like a skeleton chariot could just be the mascot wheeling up being like, hey.
Yeah, but you got to have a kid high five it. You got to have a kid high five it, and it's got to shoot T-shirts at some point.
I think it might just be Cetra.
Just Cetra?
Legit. I do not kneel. And
the fans don't kneel; they stand up defiantly.
Yeah, and they always go like this. I do not kneel.
Maybe.
They get a 6 point in.
Yeah, that almost looked bad. Okay.
I do not kneel.
But Cetra does not serve, so I don't know. I think it's. I think you're on there with the.
It teaches kids to be independent. It teaches kids to believe in themselves. Like, there's a lot of great life lessons you can get from Cetra the Imperishable.
T-shirt cannon on chariot. Yeah, I think that solves the debate right there. It's got to be the... Like, because the fucking, like, where they have the, like, the spinny T-shirt cannon, you know, where it goes in a circle, that's just on the chariot. Yo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that solves it. Yeah, that's that one.
Oh, goodness.
See, Flesh Eater Courts has no good mascots, because it's just all, like, stupid fleshy ghoul idiots.
I don't know. They can figure something out.
They can have the big baby. Like... They can have big baby ghoul.
Do you remember the mascot for the Golden State Warriors whenever it was just a weird blue guy with a lightning bolt head?
That's right.
Just like, do that, but make it a Flesh Eater Core.
Oh, that's so bad.
Head, and you're done.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you could have a T-shirt archer. Like,
yeah, that'd be great. Like one of those big Nerf archer things. Like,
yeah, it's got a T-shirt in it and a night. Yeah. Okay. So, like, Legion of Nagash, do we treat it as one army or several? Because I think we go with one army, even though it's not.
I agree, and I think it's annoying, and...
it's got to be a Vlazda, right?
I don't know.
Doesn't it? Because it's...
Yeah, I think so. I think that might be the answer, because it's not like anything else in that army is interesting.
It's the most impressive model. It does the most work.
Yeah, and it can
it's kind of boring, but it's... otherwise, just like a literal skeleton. But then you don't... just an actual skeleton. Just a super impressive skeleton.
Super impressive, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we obviously have Swole Skeleton for the Osurich.
Yeah, like thick skeleton, spelt with 2 C's.
Yeah.
Thick skeletons.
Yeah, and Fire Slayers is the one Fire Slayer model.
Which
Paradron Overlords would be would definitely be one of the balloon boys.
Except instead of the balloon behind him, it's a basketball hoop, and he constantly gets dunked on.
Exactly. So for Deepkin, what would it be? Would it be a turtle?
I think so.
Or would it be an Alloplex just walking around?
No, it's got to be a turtle. A turtle.
Okay. It's
got to be a turtle, I think. The turtle's like the more interesting model.
100%. Okay, so we'll go with dinosaur turtle face, whatever they're actually called. Hashtag know the name. Always important.
The Eidolon of Dunk.
The Eidolon of the Slam.
He's got the key. Oh, the Eidolon of the Slam. I love it. And he's got like the cape, and it's just a basketball net.
Count it. 100% Eidolon dunking. Frank on the rocks. You know what's good, Frank on the rocks. And so what other armies that I like to beat? So what? So Fate Weaver would just be one. Fate Weaver would be a mascot. Every single major corn god, like the elevated version of it, the exalted.
Oh, dude, Bloodthirster is straight up the corn mascot. And like all his lines of dialogue are written for him.
Sure.
Dunks for the dunk throne, like threes.
Yeah.
Like threes for the
dunk throne. Slam for the slam ball.
Like Slambo, like trays for the tray god, like.
Buckets, I see that in this chat you're asking me what beer I'm drinking. I'm drinking Snowbird by the Gahan Brewery of Prince Edward Island. It's a juicy IPA, which is perfectly adequate.
Juicy. I'm drinking PBR. It's not surprising to anybody.
Expected.
No, I elevated my game. I elevated my game for tonight's stream. Usually it's hams. Yeah. Usually it's hams. Sigvald the Jamnificent.
I think.
Oh my god, that's so good.
A dunking tandem where she just like runs up his back and then just throws it down.
Oh, that's so good. Oh my god, okay. Sigvald the Jamnificent. I'm sorry for just screaming in your ear laughing. That's fantastic.
I'm down. I have 1% left on my phone.
Oh, that's so good.
Okay, so we've done all the Chaos Gods because they're pretty obvious. Okay, wait. Would you want a Zangor or would you want a Lord of Change?
Like Lord of Change, because for Zinj I just think money. Like, so I think a Lord of Change. Like you hit the tray and then you keep some change. You know, like it's a little bit of a the beard. God damn it! Why can't I think of his name right now?
James Harden.
Yeah, James Harden, where he gets the 3 and he always draws a foul. That's the Lord of Change. Like 6 and 3 and draws. Yeah. So it's gotta be the Lord of Change. Yeah, it's gotta be the Lord of Change. So he hits the 3 and then he gets some change by going and getting the free throw.
Okay, you know what? I feel like that holds up for Jamal Crawford. I feel like he's more of a Lord of Change, and he's the all-time leader in like drawing fouls. It's perfect.
Fair enough. Yeah. Good.
I love that. Great. Shout out to Seattle. Goodness. Okay, so we got our Chaos Gods.
Thank you.
Okay, Daughters of Cain. It has to be a.
It can't not be
a Belusai or whatever.
It can't not be a Snake Lady, right? Like it's got to be.
Yeah, it has to be 100%. Like it has to be Snake Lady that like the kids can enjoy, and like she's got a cool tail and she can wiggle it back and forth.
Yeah.
Like all the kids love it. She's got a big headpiece, maybe a bow, so that way she could.
The headpiece could have a hoop on it. There'd be a backboard.
You put a backboard on everything.
Yeah, I put a backboard on like all of these.
I put a backboard on it. Great. Just like that one Portlandia skit with a bird, but instead it's a backboard. That being said, I think Cypher Lords are the perfect thing for the backboard to be placed on.
Yeah, we've seen the Photoshop.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I can't decide if it made me like it less or more, but I'm here.
Yeah, I'm like you didn't there was someone did a Photoshop of the Ossiarch Bone Reapers, and I'm like, this didn't dissuade me from it. Put it up, like they put the guy on the catapult. They put a Catacross on the catapult, and I'm like, this doesn't like dissuade me. And the only thing I'm disappointed in is the disapproving samurai man's not on there with him, and then they like put him on there too. I'm like, perfect.
You just samurai man. I'm gonna mail you if I end up. Okay, so let's bring it back. Let's get away from the mascots.
I love the mascot discussion, though. Tell me chat doesn't love the mascot discussion.
I don't know. My phone's dead. Wait, no, it's not. Whoops.
Anyway.
Changeling with opposing jersey and shorts. Oh, definitely still nice. All right, fine. Let's finish this up. Okay, so
we did the 4 Chaos Gods. There's a lot of order.
Okay, let's just do cities as a battle tome. So we'll do a great sword.
It's got to have the cod piece though. And
100%. 100% cod piece, 100% puffy sleeves, and he is part and it's a great sword dunk team is what's going on there.
Okay.
It's like straight up like a whole bunch of people in stupid fake mustaches, including women, and they're just out there like just throwing it off the backboard.
See, this one's just fun. Yeah, it's like a team. It's a whole they've got like a 5 like sort of like a penta team, and
they've got 100%.
Great horned rat.
Like Power Rangers. Great, done. Okay, moving on. Let's go to Ogors. Who is the Ogre mascot? Like, if we're gonna go with Ogres as a battle tone, the entirety, we're assuming Beast Club's getting jammed in there.
No, I've got it.
Who's our guy?
I got it. It's so instead of Gutbuster or like a Gutbuster or an Iron Gut, it's the Dunk Buster, and it's just Dikembe Mutombo, the defensive like Ogre, and he just like no, like and so it's like the opposite day. You have a dunk team of like 5 dudes, and he just rejects them the whole time.
And he has a massive t-shirt cannon.
Yeah, it's just like it looks like a cannon. Like he's hip shooting a cannon from an actual pirate ship, you know, and it shoots like 12 shirts at the same time.
Get so many costume changes for all the man-eaters. Yes. Okay, so have you heard about the Grizzlies mascot? Grizz. He's just a bear.
Okay.
They've taken the quintessential Southern wrestling shtick. So, like, you know how wrestling has always had its individual little pockets.
Yes.
Where wrestling was like. Pretty...
Do you know I was a wrestler?
Why, yes.
Okay.
I do know that you're a wrestler.
Okay.
So they've taken the great Southern tradition of wrestling and have extrapolated it and placed it upon the framework that is mascots. So they have season-long storylines for the Grizz and the associated sponsored mascots.
That's actually really awesome. I'm in love with that. That's fucking great.
And so, like, he has alter egos. He has, like, super or all of a sudden he's, like, the hero. And then he has, like, the evil one. And then he has, like, the evil in. And then he has, like, the innocent one that comes in at the start of the season. And he evolves as the season
I was worried
on.
you were about to portray this negatively. And I'm like, this is the greatest thing I've ever heard.
100%. I'll try to find you a link to one of the most amazing stories I've ever read.
Okay, yeah, do that.
It's breaking down the Southern wrestling tradition that is within the Memphis Grizzlies mascot. It's great. So that's what the Gutbusters would be. The Gutbusters would be a Southern wrestling tradition wrapped up in their like pirate shtick and ninjas and like everything else.
I'm sold.
Did you see today all the maybe it's yesterday, all the conversions that Peachy and several of the other Warhammer community team had done with Ogors?
No, I see.
Like
I was in a very focused Twitter circle today. Usually, I had a lot of work, and so it was just really just like the brand and people.
Yeah, you're gonna love it whenever you go back and find it, because there's like 7 or 8 different man-eaters that are just built up, not painted yet. But there's like a Phoenix Chamber one. There's a whole bunch of like hilarious things. I think there was a Daughters of Cain Ogre. Like, it's great. 100% all in. Friggin' ridiculous. So that's what that would be. So let's push on. Iron Jaws. It's obviously an Iron Jaw.
Well, we got the Maw
going.
Crusher. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Maw Crusher. Gloomspite. What would it be? Would it be a squig?
Dude, Boingy Boys? Like a tandem Boingy Boys, like, dunk team?
Ooh, yeah. Well, I don't think it'd be dunk team. Like, I'm thinking that they would just have one gigantic colossal squig, and that would be their mascot that would like dope around.
Yeah,
And
you
kids
could
would be
do
like,
that too.
"Ah!"
Yeah. And it could even have, like, a basketball,
Okay.
like, paint scheme, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, perfect.
That was a lot easier than expected for them.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many,
Um,
it's such a good
let's
model
see.
range, and...
What other destructions armies are there? We've done. I think that's it.
Yeah, that's kind of it. Yeah.
Amir. Oh wait, no, nobody cares.
Yeah, should be squatted.
Shouts to the Big Zombie podcast.
Alright.
Okay, so let's move into order.
Order's the biggest one, right?
Order's the biggest one. So we did cities, which was the Great Sword.
Well,
17.
BCR, BCR, the problem with BCR is it would be the Stonehorn. Like,
Yeah, which would be like the
it'd just be the Stonehorn.
Yeah.
It's their best thing.
And then we'll 100%. It's the only thing that matters. Except for the Ice Brat Hunter.
He's not good. He's
Doesn't
not
have to be
good.
good. He looks like Anthony Davis. So moving on. So that's
Order.
done. That's done.
Order. We already mentioned
Order,
Marathi.
We already mentioned KO. We already mentioned cities. So Stormcast. What would the Stormcast model be?
Wasn't that the Slam?
Slam what? Would it be a prosecutor? I always want things with wings for some reason. I feel like it's a bad idea. Maybe Night Quester. I feel like this would be a great opportunity to have a female Stormcast.
No. It's got to be the Celestin Prime.
Yeah, it does. It does have to be Celestin Prime, but I feel like
he needs to be like dropped in only at halftime.
Yeah.
Only at halftime.
Oh my god!
He parachutes in with the biggest dunk ever, just once, you know.
And other than that, there's just a whole bunch of like liberators.
Yeah, there's just like and then you get like the full like complement of like a great cheer team and a good dunk team, because it's just a bunch of elite decent things, and then just the Celestin Prime with the mega massive Mama Jam.
Yeah, 100%. I'm like, done. Okay. Great job. All right, so
what we got? Man, I'm blanking on.
Sylvaneth would just be a group
a
like
Dunk Lord Ancient.
Yes. I like that. A Dunk Lord Ancient is really good.
No, you'd sell Star Drake like plushies and paraphernalia, but the person in the mascots, it's not going to be a Star Drake. It's going to be the Celestin Prime.
Oh yeah, and it'd be like a hero.
Fire Slayers, they only have the one model, so it's that.
Yeah, they're definitely like the Sacramento level.
Yeah, I don't.
Franchise.
Darkling Covens and all that stuff doesn't matter. That's in the cities, I think.
Yeah, and you know what? That's another way that they could like swap in dunk teams throughout the year.
Yeah, they have like their dunk teams swap their costumes and stuff. That's fine. Man,
like cities takes up a whole lot of what order is.
Yeah, currently, because it's such a soup army. But I mean, this is a point I wanted to mention way earlier on in the stream where I saw people harping on death and death, and it's so obvious you started playing Age of Sigmar with Age of Sigmar 2.0, because when it gets right down to it, death had one battle tome for the majority of the release of Age of Sigmar, and then oh my god, we suddenly got Night Haunt, Legion of Nagash, and a re-release of Flesh Eater Courts. Oh no, 3 battle tomes. Yes, in a 1-year span, sure. But like Legion of Nagash is barely a battle tome; it's a Grand Alliance, the book.
It's and that's like that's.
Oh yeah, Seraphon.
I found funny about.
Seraphon.
That's what I was about to say.
Lord
missed the best one.
Seraphon, we did miss the best one.
Like, there's so many good options.
I mean, there could be Lord Choke, and
so.
he actually like just misses the half court shot every time. Sorry, too soon.
Listen, they're called slams, not slans.
Oh yeah, they're called slams instead of slan.
And they got like flat brim caps.
Yeah, and then like slightly tilted to the side and up a little bit.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. Slan dunk.
Exactly, that's what I say every time. But like, I feel like there's lots of different options because you could have like Skinks be like the dance team almost, like
yes,
the dance team with feathers, and like the hype team.
Yeah, and every time that they're about to get into the song, they just run away from it.
Let's engage. Oh wait, I'm scared.
Yeah.
I just took up some of your time. Just to run away.
Yep. Yeah. No, and naturally Seraphon hosts the dunking competition every year because they have the slam magic. Dunksagore instead of Crunksagore.
Dunksagore.
See, I feel like you know what? So Dunksagore's got to be the mascot. I've changed anything I've said prior to this point. Dunksagore is the mascot. It's like a crocodile who just dunks on you.
They're a paragon of the physical form that is Seraphon. Like, they have the gigantic triangular, like, build-up muscles. They've got a cool necklace, maybe some sweet wristbands. Like, they're all in.
Yeah. I love
it. All right, so let's push on.
What
else we got? So we did all the major chaos gods. Skaven? Would it be a
I mean, they have slam rats, right?
Yeah, slam rats. Slam rats is the dunk team.
Yeah, it's the dunk team.
Would the...
I mean, it's got to be a vermin lord.
So...
Maybe.
So they would have a doom wheel shaped t-shirt cannon, 100%.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Then there would be the Hell Pit, a Duncan Nation.
Yes.
That would be their, like, challenge that you have to dunk over the Duncan Nation. Like it would be the blow-up thing, where they have a blow-up rubber, like, rat that little kids could, at halftime and before and after game, just haul off and just jam on top of this thing. I'm going deep here. But for their main, like...
See, they've got a good complement of... I feel like they've got, like, a great, like, local PR crew with everything. But what's their main mascot?
The Vermin Lord. It's the Vermin Lord Dunkinator.
The Vermin Lord Dunkruptor.
Dunkruptor's really good. I'm disrupting the universe with my slam.
The Globadeer Trotters, like the fucking globe throwers.
Yes. Oh, and they still have goggles on because they could sell the goggles.
Yeah, the goggles, they do nothing.
Except get me jammed. Alright, so we got through Skaven. Beasts of Chaos, I guess they dunk stuff. Zygor, sure.
Yeah. I mean, he's really good at half-court shots, I guess, half the time.
Yeah, he'd be throwing, like, backwards shots.
Yeah, that's it. That's all he does. It's really the saddest part about Beasts of Chaos is it's actually just a Zangor enlightened on disc.
All right.
Like the ultimate fail.
Hey, did we nail it? I think we nailed it. I think that might have been the last one.
Yeah.
Skaven.
Yeah, Skaven was kind of the last one. Circling back around. I mean, you can add us if we missed one. Follow and like us on Twitter and such.
Like and subscribe and give this 5 stars.
Yeah, all those things.
I meant to say this at the top of the podcast because that's what Anchor's been teaching me. That I should say at the top of the podcast, please hit the like button on the YouTube video. Thank you.
So, whatever microphone is working right now isn't the one you've got your boom on, you've got your pop filter on, and so we literally heard nothing.
Oh God, I forgot.
Dude, you got to make it down here for one of our tournaments.
Some inside baseball.
No, you got to come down
baseball
here. Oh, go ahead. You had a baseball. You had a baseball.
Do I have to come down here towards the mic? Is that what you're saying?
No, I was saying you got to make it down here for one of these tournaments because I want to hang out with you. So nice. You need make it out this way too. Tee out.
We have to figure out what tournament that we'll go to
that we can all make
sometime soon. That we can all make that won't be horrible. Like for me, it costs about the same to go just about everywhere. Like it's gonna cost me a stupid amount of money to leave my friggin' province. So it's like
Prince Albert Island.
Prince Edward Island. Great in the summertime. Don't recommend visiting in the winter. Not great. Half the island's closed. But so I'm thinking like Bobo. I'm thinking NashCon. I'm thinking Adepticon. Like I just wanted to go to a fun one, and I want to go see people that I like. So like I want to go see you. I want to go see Slaniche.
Slaniche. That's the Italian pronunciation.
Man, that's whenever you just like add a little bit of citrus. Like you just gotta add a little bit of acid. Just get a nice little kick.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I wanted to like have to see him. God,
Dan's got to come up here, or like we got to go down there.
It would be great. Dan would be wonderful. Like I'd really love to see Dan.
Take care. So nice. Thanks for hanging out.
Oh no, like hey, I will. Love you forever. Talk to you soon. Like have to see him. I really wanna meet up and hang out with Scrivo, like hooking pins. So that's why I'm leaning towards Bobo, because it's like okay, if we go to the England. All of the England people have no excuse not to hang out.
Yeah.
But that's a pretty big commitment for all of the people who we know, or at least that I know on the internet, that are North American. That's why I was thinking like NashCon might be the vibe. Well, that seems like super fun.
That's the thing about NashCon is he got Rob there and Vince and stuff. So it's got like for a small tournament it was 60 people. 60 people.
Yeah.
But for a small tournament it had all the moving parts, you know what I'm saying?
And it had Ty, it had a whole bunch of people that I'm like,
oh yeah, Ty
that's a fun person.
Speaking of my top 5, Ty's on it. He fucking love that guy. Ty is very.
Is his birthday today?
No, that's Bryce. Ty is
Bryce. Nice. I like Bryce.
Bryce. So they did. What was it? Rage of Sigmar did the adopt, kill, fuck, marry, etc., etc. Age of Sigmar edition. Oh.
Adopt.
I would adopt Bryce. I would adopt Bryce in a heartbeat. It's such a weird compliment to give a human. Like I'd adopt you.
Adopt isn't an option in that paragon, but I accept it.
Yeah. I'm gonna head to the restroom real quick and come back, and then we're gonna close out. Sound cool? All right.
Cool.
All right.
Are you gone yet?
No, I'm not gone yet, but you need to no dead air. We can't have dead air. What is your favorite?
We're not gonna have dead air.
Okay. No, yeah. Okay, you're gonna fill in the dead air, and we're gonna watch the VOD tomorrow, and just like it's gonna be like 3 minutes of trash talking me. It's gonna be great. Yeah. I'll be right back.
Get out. Get out. Get out. Okay. We're gonna talk about the ostrich bone fuckers. Holy shit. Is there a worse model range when it comes to the new sculpts that GW's put out? They're the stupidest looking things that have come out in ages. Like, if we look back at the other, like, modern day sculpts, like, we look at the Ideneth or the, like, Boomspike kits, like, all those kits, awesome. Like, great kits. They all had core ideas that they did well, looked pretty dope. And then there's this, where it's like they're so close to being something that most people find interesting, but then there's just the grinning, stupid faces that have noses that are supposed to be skeleton-like constructs. Like, what the hell is that? We look at the core concept of them. Okay, so they're constructs, they hold souls, sounds awesome. They don't even look like automatons. Like, they just kind of look like Sylvaneth if they were having an allergic reaction to something. I was so disappointed in those ugly, stupid idiots. Like, I can't believe that that's what they turned out to be. And we are back.
Okay. Wow. That was epic.
Great. That's a really quick team, my man.
Yeah, I use the bathroom we usually don't use.
Is that just a window? Continue.
No, it's
Okay.
no. That's here, which only happens on the most dire of nights. So we're in the second story here. I have my little office. It's off the master bedroom, and then we have the balcony right here into the alleyway. And my most desperate of nights, I have peed over the balcony and into the alleyway. So, you know.
I could have went for longer. I got a lot.
Yeah, a lot more in there. Better not ASMR us, fucker. You just got Tomb King Tristan after dark.
My phone's dead, so I can't see the chat anymore. So I hope they don't reveal my evil, cunning plan that
I suspect it was just you panning the Bone Rad Reapers for like just 3 minutes or whatever.
Gosh, no, I wouldn't do that. I just talked about how much fun the Houston Rockets are going to be. So much fun.
Okay. Oh man, come on! Like, is the Western Conference incapable of putting together good teams? No, Clippers.
That's like where the only good teams are. Like, what are you talking about?
It's true.
Daddy.
It's true. I mean, there's one good team in the East. It's the Bucks, and then there's everybody else. No, I mean Toronto just like fucking had a fire sale. They're not good.
Forget that Philadelphia exists. Is that a thing? Like,
yeah, you mean the ones that jobbed to us twice?
I know that the American school system is pretty shit, but I feel like explaining what a Philadelphia is might be important for the whole America.
Maybe, but like here's the thing: is Philadelphia are jobbers to the Bucks, and they can't stop us. They can't. So, they don't match up against Giannis because they can't commit 4 people to him in the paint, and that's what you got to do.
Okay. But now that they don't know how to shoot no good anymore, the Bucks, is that going to be a problem?
What we've never shot good though. That's like our whole problem. Is like we've needed Chris Middleton to actually be a max contract shooter, and he's just not.
I don't know. Hit those 2 cold free throws against Turkey the other day.
Yeah, against Turkey. like, wow, the best player on the freaking U.S. Cup team is Chris Middleton? No. Like, we've needed that, that. What we need is Steph Curry. Trade Middleton and whatever prospects you think we have and get me Steph Curry or Klay Thompson plus Giannis. Unstoppable. Telling you.
Sure.
Boo, back to toilet, Mephisto.
Sure.
Stop the basketball talk.
Nerds. But yeah, so getting back to the original
premise of Age of Sigmar, and it wasn't meant to be just like Tristan talks about how sad he is about Tomb Kings for 2 hours. But that's what happened. But that's the joy of that's the joy of live. That's why I do live broadcast. That's why I don't do a pre-recorded show where I cut out all my worst takes and stuff like that. Because I want that like organic conversation. And I just want to talk to somebody and then record it, and then we're talking about theoretically.
This is what happens when you don't have show notes that you said that you would have, that it would have written. We go on a 25-minute diatribe about the best mascots that could possibly be in basketball AOS. Which, don't get me wrong, very important.
See, you're saying it that way. You're going, but then we go on a 25-minute diatribe about the thing. And then another person listening to it is like, we went on a 25-minute diatribe about basketball mascots for Age of Sigmar. Like,
you're acting like I'm not going to listen to tomorrow at work and be stoked that we came up with so many good ideas.
Well, that's the thing. It's Tuesday nights,
and I'm gonna post them in the Honest War Gamer draw your cool AOS chat, and I'm gonna put weird ones that have hidden dicks, and I'm gonna send them to Dan unsupervised. Great.
I love Dan, by the way. I can't consider him in my running for favorite Australian though, because he's defected now to Canada. For the same reason, I can't consider Christian Ware a favorite Australian because I'm sorry, everybody, he's America's now. He's ours now. But
Yeah, for him.
No.
There's always stand for Virginia.
Yeah. No,
Anthony.
I'm just saying that the organic nature of conversation is like it's twos and nines, right? Like you either got to be really, really terrible or you got to be really, really great. An organic conversation, you basically hit twos and nines the entire time.
Listen, I'm great. I'm killing it. I'm really happy that I could bring you up tonight. It's nice. I'm so well versed in how these things work.
See, and that's the thing is I trusted you to be an expert on the things I wanted to ask your opinion on. And so then I get to ask you your opinion, and then you delivered something you've already thought about 100 times to me, personally. How are we going on that? Is that a 6-pack or a 4-pack of Tall Boys?
It's a 2-pack. I'm a lightweight waiting for a Skype date.
Randy is my TK hero.
That's a reference to one of my favorites.
You mean Stan?
Oh, Randy's a good coach. Randy's so good. God, I love Randy. What a beaut.
I know Twitter handles.
I still remember, so Cator 1976, whatever the heck it is. It's Randy Savage. I don't know. He is the myth, the legend, the beauty that is Randall Radish / Masvidal.
Mm-hmm.
Down in Tanzania, he's a cheese doctor. Beautiful human being.
A cheese doctor, like he actually makes cheeses.
Like he has like a team of cheese people that he tells how to cheese.
Can I meet this person? I'm from Wisconsin. I don't know if you know this, and we like cheese and beer. And I hear Australia likes beer too.
Yeah, I've made a lot of systems for them. But no, you know what? If you set your heart on it, I'm sure Randy would meet you.
Cool.
But you have to fly down there.
Well, no, that's the thing is like the tournament. If I'm gonna leave the country, I want to go to CanCon. Or
oh, dude, yeah.
Or if there's an off, like maybe you have so CanCon falls in a terrible time for me to travel because I have no money in January on account of the seasonal nature of my job. Or January or February or whatever it is. Like I worked 60 hours all freaking summer long, and so I have all the money but none of the time to hobby and make army. And then what's happened though is I'm getting a stockpile of stuff to hobby through the winter, but then I want to travel to CanCon's that's hard. But is there a second Australia convention that I can go to that's CanCon that I can meet all the CanCon folk, but then it's just at a more decent time for me monetarily speaking? Coach, you're in the chat. Let me know.
Yeah, I hope so.
Because I want to go to CanCon. Bobo seems cool.
I want to go to CanCon.
LLV went to Bobo. LLV went to Bobo, and cool.
And he almost died.
But I feel like Bobo is like the Adepticon of the UK and Euro, where it's it's more spectacle than community event, and so you play the whole time and you don't really get a bunch of time to hang out with people, right?
But it's a much CanCon massive. It's the biggest AOS tournament.
Is it? Is this you run period. The numbers? It is period. Cool. Okay.
It is there were jokes about make it 400 this year. It is huge.
Cool.
And Bobo was half its size.
And I'll have an elite skeleton army by then. Because finally I'm getting fucking elite skeletons. I'm sorry, were you mad about that?
They're not skeletons.
They're constructs.
Constructs made up of bone.
Which is freaking awesome. And the stupid faces is your opinion, man.
Yeah, but my opinion is codified as law.
So swap their heads. Head swaps, done.
Yeah, great. What am I gonna put on them? Stupid samurai heads that other people found on Puppets War? Great.
Or Or
I don't know.
your
Me and Rob
catalog
Evans, we're
of
gonna have a
TK.
chat. We're gonna figure this out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wait to see the other stupid models. And I don't know. It's probably gonna be another Legions of Nagash thing where I just use the models that are actually cool as the things that they have.
I see. I don't want. I don't want that for you.
I don't want it for me either. I think it's lame. I just want an army.
I know,
Like,
and so
I was so okay. So this is kind of the thing that we sort of beat around the bush on this evening. I have been working outside of the
box.
like I've been working outside the box. Like I'm outside the box. I don't open up a White Dwarf and see my army doing cool stuff. Like I don't read fiction about my army. If I want to read fiction about my army, I'm the one that writes it.
Have you read my fanfic story yet, by the way?
No. Oh wait, the one about the codpiece?
Yeah.
Yes, I have. Excellent.
Thank you.
Okay. Up there with Martin Orlando. But that's the difference between being able to pick an army off the shelf and create your own narrative within that smaller sandbox, and picking one up and having it be outside of that.
Yeah.
Like for me, if I want to have anything in any space, I'm the one that has to create it. Like I wrote a really fun Malign Fortin story where it's like Knight of Shrouds is taken from my army, and then all of a sudden, like he's leading something that's has a whole bunch of souls and a whole bunch of ghosts that stem from the army that I built up. And like that was really fun. I really enjoyed doing that. I converted up a really fun model for it. But it just had to be something that I did. Like it's like I don't get to just like walk in and all of a sudden have several thousand people be like, heck yeah, let's go, Bone Bros, Bone Buddies, let's go. Like I don't get that life.
Yeah.
That's not something like as a Tomb Kings person I'm able to have. Like I'm able to have my Facebook group where like me and like Will Rose and a couple other people like go back and forth about like what we can do competitively to stay in it. But I don't get those really fun like written by Josh Reynolds stories that are so good. Like I get the Hamilcar, Bear Collar, like Cetrus and the Imperishables like little note thing that makes me want to throw all of my Stormcast models into the river.
To be fair, I don't read any of the stories written about Nagash because I already know how Nagash should be in my head. I had to do that for the... Yeah, I know.
Okay, important question that I've thought about for quite a while.
Okay.
Whenever you say Nagash, do you imagine to have a horse face or not? Because every time you say it, that's like, I'm just thinking horse face.
I've begun to exaggerate it. I've begun to exaggerate it because people called me out on it like once, and so I have to own it.
Neighash?
Okay, so like, first of all, to get Nagash, you'd have to actually have like an intersecting H or an extra G in there. The way the conventions of like language. Okay.
You're not a H man. You are a Y or EIGH.
Well, see, when it goes vowel, consonant, vowel, you tend to get a long vowel sound on one of them. And so, like, you can't have both, like, Nagash and, like, Nagash. Like, to get the Nagash, you'd have to do something else in the back end to get the ash as well. So, like, it doesn't conventionally make sense. But, again, we're arguing, like, pronunciation on made-up words and made-up universes. And when I learned to pronounce it, I went off of what me, a English lit major and writer my entire life, knew about the conventions of the English language without the internet to tell me I was wrong.
Yeah, but you're wrong.
Perhaps, retroactively. Like how Cetra is wrong. You know.
I don't know. Still seems like a badass to me.
He's fine. He's fine. No, I'm gonna go to my original take on Tomb Kings. Boom.
Bring it on home.
Yeah, bring it on home. I'm bringing it on home. I'm bringing it all the way back. I have no malice towards Tomb Kings because I missed the end times. I missed the true split. Like, I don't have... Because I feel like there were some tribes that formed in the death community that I just simply wasn't a part of. I came back to business as usual for me, and early on, it's a good, it's a good model. I came back to business as usual for me. I just picked up where I left off. Oh, dude, that's like a super sick version of the. Why isn't this up on your Twitter? Get that shit up on your Twitter.
It was.
No,
I can only pin one thing.
Yeah, well, post it recently because I'm gonna I'm basically gonna blast your Twitter out for the next 3 days, and so have a bunch of model pictures.
All right.
Apparently, I'm a really good Twitter hype man. I'm terrible at self-promoting, but I'm awesome. Like everybody else, they're just like, oh man, you just get so many hits for me. I'm like, I want hits for me because I'm a selfish asshole. I don't care about you. Anyway. No, I'm just
gonna. Love you too, bro.
Yeah, no, I do love you, man. You're great. So get photos up on your TK stuff. I want people to see the TK. I want Games Workshop and the playtesters to feel
Actually, I'm talking over you.
Yeah, no, go on.
Well, actually, there's going to be a post up soon on AOS Shorts that I wrote that's going to have a whole bunch of pictures of my army and kind of how I came about to building it and sort of my ethos for it.
Perfect. I'll blast that out too when the time comes. So get more pictures up and stuff like that. Because
just for you.
I want Games Workshop and playtesters and stuff to regret to truly regret not thinking more about Tomb Kings. And again, not a Tomb Kings player. I'm Nagash for life, or Nagash if you want to continue to pronounce it like your British overlords. Whatever, I'll let that be up to you.
I'm sorry, I'm from the Dominion of Canada. We appreciate how to speak properly.
Yeah, fair enough. Quebec and your
Say Z
weirdo French. But no, I don't. When it gets right down to it, I don't truly have a skin in the tribal game between Vampire Counts and Tomb Kings, and that's not my take. That really hasn't been. Early on, I got into the game from a competitive standpoint, and Magic the Gathering. My favorite deck in all of Magic the Gathering was Survival Band. Okay?
What does that mean?
Don't worry about it. Survival is a card that allowed you to basically pitch a card from your pitch a monster to search for a monster from your deck and spend some mana. Okay? It was an enchantment you had to lay down. And this deck was fantastic. But then they printed a monster card that broke the deck and made it just the most absurd thing ever. That's all you need to know. Okay? And so I had the most fun ever being able to play with a toolbox of my favorite creatures, and then they printed a card, a creature card, that just made the deck inconceivably powerful, and they went in and they banned Survival. I, to this day...
Yeah.
I do not think he knows what this word means. I went on to... I've never had as much fun playing Magic the Gathering since they banned Survival. Just hasn't happened. No. I play EDH a lot, but the point is the point is
that sounds like EDM.
Yeah, sure. The point is I know that there's this feeling where it's it wasn't my fault and I'm not having the fun I should be having, and I get the feeling, and I hate this where they sort of transpose the culprit onto something else. But again, so that's not my take. My take is not that TK deserve to be punished. I've never thought of them as the enemy or a different tribe or anything like that. I came into the game where I just picked up where I left off, and I didn't get to feel the tribalism of it all. But what I did notice is that Total War Warhammer 1 and 2 are two of their most popular Warhammer games in existence.
Yeah.
And you have TK there. And you have people play TK there and then try to play the current game, and they look at the game and they go, what army do I play if I want to play TK?
And you know what the funny
You
part
you
about that is?
you can say
Guess
skate.
what
Go
well, the
on.
most, the best selling of the additions to Total War Warhammer? The Tomb King one.
Well, and that's the thing is like is and that to me is it's squandered profits.
Agreed.
You could be selling people more on your game by representing them. You could be you could be sort of uniting the clans a little bit more. Like
Yeah.
40K, the reason 40K is the more popular brand is because they've done such a good job at cross marketing. They put a lot more effort into their Black Library books for 40K. That's the written word. That's, they put a lot more into their video games. There's for every Warhammer Fantasy Battle game, there are a dozen 40K games. They just don't.
Yeah, that and like 40K is an incredibly engaging.
It's a great setting. It's a fantastic setting. We're talking like top 10 settings of anything sci-fi or fantasy in the history of the universe. Like it's a fantastic setting. It's a excellent setting for writing stuff in it. And don't get me wrong. And Age of Sigmar isn't quite there. But again, when you have this like this thing that is ready to print you money and sell models for you, the way Total Warhammer is for Tomb Kings, why aren't they a priority army? And again, I say that as a guy who doesn't play them. They're not my thing. As we've discovered for 2 hours, they're not my thing. But I'm just like, why? Why not? I got into your game. I saw this Tomb Kings were a meme at the time I got into your game, and I came at it from a competitive stance, and I went, oh wait, nobody's playing Tomb Kings right now, although the years prior they had been. And so I'm like, oh yeah, they're not playing it competitively now, so like fine, get rid of it. But then I got to meet people and realize that like if Nagash goes away in like the next 2 years, I'm gonna feel like shit. He's my favorite character in the game. I love that he stole magic from the fucking elves and he invented immortality and he did all this shit. And like he's only really been foiled by like bullshit MacGuffin stuff, but even when he rewrites the script of the world. We're living in his narrative right now as Age of Sigmar. Age of Sigmar 2.0 happened because Nagash tried to build the awesome pyramid and it blew the hell up, and now we have endless spells and so on and so forth. Like, awesome. That's awesome to me, a Nagash guy. But like 2 years from now, 3 years from now, he disappears. And then they promise me he's coming back. And then I find out, like, pretty hardcore he's not. I'm going to be pissed off. And so when people are, like, making fun of TK players, Empire players, whatever, Britannia players, I want them to remember that they're the thing you love in Age of Sigmar. Your Iron Jaws, your Space Paladins, Stormcast Eternals, your Seraphon, whatever it is. There are people who love the game, and maybe their number dollar amount doesn't equal to how much your number dollar amount equates to, but there are people who love the game just as intensely as you.
Yeah.
And to just write them off and say, ha ha ha, you got what you wanted, now shut up, is the shittiest of takes.
Yeah. That's the thing that's really hurt me was, hey, you got this army, you have no excuse now, you have to play it. And it's like, that's not my army.
It's not.
And like, that's kind of the like kick in the pants that this thing really was. It's they took the bone structure that was Tomb Kings, like a lot of the archetypes.
Bone structure.
Yeah, exactly. And then they just stretched a new skin over it to make this army. So it's like, it is a reimagined Tomb King's army in many ways. And it's like, it's the way that I would have redone it in its core idea, like an army of constructs.
Yeah.
Like, makes total sense. Like, I would love it. I just wish that instead of going with the Pan-Asian design that they did go with, that they would have went more with, like, mini Ushabti. Like, to me, that would be a lot more flavorful and a lot more fun for my taste.
Okay.
I'm a selfish asshole.
So yeah, no, you're allowed to be. You're on my stream. You're allowed to be right now.
Yeah, exactly.
You're on a soapbox. Fucking own it.
Yeah, and you know what? They would have looked better. There, I
I,
said it.
I'm not going to disagree with you because that's not the point. Um, I just think, I just think,
Yes.
I just think that what
Yeah.
they did is they released a very Age of Sigmar undead army in the way that like
Yep.
Night Haunt kind of wasn't, and what I wanted of a Death Army but didn't know how to quantify it. And I do think that they went, here's a very like Nagash's like quest. Thank you so much for that follow there.
Job.
Nagash's quest there to like how he's pissed off about Stormcast Eternals getting like Sigmar takes the primest of souls from him and stuff. And so he's like, you know what? Fuck it. I don't get the prime souls. I'm going to put 4 souls into this thing. You know, I love that. Like, I like, that's a very narrative way of getting across this, like, the soul wars, right? And so
Yeah.
I'm very on board with a lot of the theme and the fluff and the flavor, but, like, don't sell this as Tomb Kings. And that's part of my, like, main things going on here is, like, don't sell it as Tomb Kings. And if we go back to a few moments prior where I was talking about like the dollar amount of like your player and your fan bases and stuff, the Tomb King fan base is out there. I think from a joking standpoint it's a meme, but when you look at Total Warhammer, I know for a flying like I know for a fact the money is there to sell people Tomb Kings because the digital market, whether they choose to acknowledge it or not, is there for people playing their digital games. Their most popular one for their fantasy shtick is the Total Warhammer, and their most amongst it, their most highest sellingest, most played is Tomb Kings. And so I posit, and I've railed against hope and how expectation is the mother of all letdown. So there's still 4 Mortarks left. They have time to come back around to it. Again, don't set up your fucking hobby project for the next year on that because you've hit the lowest of the low with hope right now.
Yeah, 100%. Like, this is the worst that I've felt in the hobby ever. Easily. And it's like, it's funny because it's not something that I expected. Like, I didn't expect to feel like I didn't want to do anything related to Warhammer. Period. Like, that's how I felt for the last week or so. And then I, like, slowly dug myself out. I got a lot of nice messages from people. And,
not for me, I sent mean ones.
yeah, I know. It was great. Needed that. But, like, I had people who I adore and I think are, like, the pillars of the community say something like, oh, if there's one person that can do this in a way that
it's you.
Could be Tomb Kings, it would be me.
It's you.
And that's crazy to me.
No, it is.
How do people who I have watched hundreds of hours of, or have been on their website for ages, or like have just think the world of for the last like 2 or 3 years since I got in this hobby, how are they the people that think that, oh no, that's the guy, he's my dude,
No,
he'll do it.
No, you are.
Like, he's the one.
You are. Own it. Own it, dude. Own it, dude. Like, you are. And that's where like when you lost hope, I lost hope. And I don't, again, no skin in the game for Tomb Kings. Like, I just,
yeah.
Nagash is winning. I'm fucking, woo, I'm happy. Like, yeah, like, I've got a fucking pinwheel in one hand, like a fucking, one of those spinny things in the other. Like, I'm fine. But, like, when you lost hope, I was just like, shit. Like, first off, back off panning Tomb King's players, guys. It's not funny anymore. And, like, the other thing is, like, this is a very real section of the community. There's direct correlations to the digital market. Like, and like, if anyone can take these things that aren't... If there's anyone that can take these things that aren't visually Tomb Kings and make them Tomb Kings, it's you. Look at this fucking chariot. Like... You know, like, yeah. God damn, like, that
was a crazy feat between that project.
Like you've got the bits hanging around, hopefully still, and more than that, you've got the vision, because you came at the game from a sort of a theme for. Oh, look at that! It's still in the freaking cellophane and everything. You've got the bits. I bet you if we blast your name out there enough, you'll get extra bits. And in
Dude,
one
like
calendar year from now, there's gonna be a ostrich riders, whatever your making fun of the name is, like
ostrich
army,
bonefucker?
ostrich bonefuckers. There's gonna be that army, and yours in one calendar year from now is going to be this fucking majestic, actual spiritual successor to the Tomb Kings in the way that we were promised, but they did not deliver. And I know that they didn't deliver because you, the Tomb Kings player, did not feel this was Tomb Kings, and me, the Tomb Kings naysayer, said, ha 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 ha, that's not Tomb Kings. Like, gloatingly said it wasn't Tomb Kings. Like, if anyone can do it, it's you. And so here's the fucking rub. 1 year from now, I'm going to see the rules and think they suck ass and hate my army. But I'm still going to be playing it, and you're going to be fucking love it because of the aesthetics that you have put all the work and effort into. And that's the real rub. That's Age of Sigmar.
I guess, like, if anybody has Tomb King bits that they just have kicking around, I'll take them. Like, I need them.
He will. The Twitter handle's right there in the upper left-hand part of the screen. I constantly talk to and about Tristan, and I stream at least once a week. So toss this man some TK bits. Follows, all the love. Is there anything you want to plug right now? Any links I need to throw into my YouTube feed?
You know what? I'd say check out the Mortal Realms. They are the friggin' best. I'm in their Discord a ton. Just a really great spot if you want to try out like narrative gaming. If you want to like have some really really nice sassy dads explain how to like build a great narrative. Great people. Check them out, mortalrealms.com. Awesome people.
So there it is, mortalrealms.com. And then shameless self-promotion at Tristan Gray on Twitter. And
if you want to talk about basketball, I'll talk your ear off. If you want help with like improving your basketball game, I'm actually really good at that.
Help me. I'm terrible. My jump shot is T-rash. I don't have the wrist strength, and so you can maybe like give me some pointers to compensate for like bad wrist strength.
Yeah, 100%. We can work on that. All right. I really have to go. So, dude, this has been absolutely excellent. Like, I've loved just jumping on the stream with you. It's been so much fun. I hope this wasn't a pile of dribble.
A pile of dribble?
I know we did a good job.
A pile of dribble? No, okay.
I said dribble.
Okay. It was a pun.
Yeah. All right. Well, love you forever, brother. Keep fighting the good fight, and I'll see you on the internet.
Yeah, take care, dude.